What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the hip hop old school discussion. This is your boy Sean, Stay Puff 1983, and I got Big Reemo here. And before we went live, man, we was just showing off cassettes, CDs, books, and everything. And we were just talking about the old school and what it meant to us and growing up listening to it. So, it's been a blast. So we definitely gonna take it back. Y'all gonna feel the nostalgia with this video right here.
You might learn a couple things too, right?
Exactly, because Big Reemo, he's got something that he's gonna talk about, man. He's gonna hit y'all with that knowledge on the production side.
Sure.
So, what I wanted to start off with was what got us into hip hop. What started our love for this hip hop, and I showed that the group that really got me into hip hop. And what's up, Gomez? What's going on, broski? The group that got me into hip hop, hardcore, Run DMC. They were major in the 80s, Walk This Way, King of Rock, Rock Box. I mean, so many hit songs, Together Forever. Like,
they were the hip hop. They were hip hop.
Yeah. And they were like the first real super mainstream hip hop act,
Yeah, they were the poster boys.
Yeah. What's up, Tacoma? He said there better be some Roxanne Shante up here or I'm leaving.
Hey. What did I just show you, right?
Yeah.
Close enough, Tacoma, right? A little MC Shan action.
Yep.
That's
What's up, G-Spot? What's going on? Gomez said his was Bone Thugs and Harmony and KRS-One. Boogie Down Productions, baby. Damn.
Always stay paid.
Man, I posted that Bumpy Nuts song today. Like, yo, if y'all ain't never heard Bumpy Nuts and KRS-One off the last Boogie Down Production albums, Rough. Bro.
From Sex and Violence, right?
Sex and Violence, man. Y'all got to listen to that. They both bodied that song, bro. That was the first.
If we could play some cuts, like snippets, that'd be lovely. But you know what I'm saying? This is a lot. This show is gonna do a lot for Google because people are gonna have to go Google this stuff and go check their YouTubes to go kind of see what we're talking about. But
yeah, because I hate the copyrights, man.
Rabbit hole, but you gotta go crawl into it. You know what I'm saying?
Boogie Down Productions, Rough with Freddie Fox. Yeah. God, man, that's one of my favorite Freddie Fox. That's the first time I heard him was off that album.
Yeah. I want to say that was probably like his maybe like his second appearance.
Yeah, because he did an album with that was I think produced by what's his name, Eric B. Because he was under Eric B's tutelage.
So here's a little bit of rap knowledge. So Eric B was his DJ, and he had studio time, and he was supposed to go do a record with Marley Marl, and Freddie Fox didn't show up.
Mm-hmm.
So he had the studio time, and he was about to make the record, and he asked one of his other homeboys to come do the song instead, and that other homeboy was Rakim.
Rakim will say right. Hey, speaking of MC Shan, I got the MC Shan Down by Law.
Sure.
This was the remastered edition.
That's the one. So this is the one where he was by this time he was Hollywood. He was Hollywood by this Play It Again, Shan. This is when he was pretty much a sucker in everybody's eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, he was defeated by KRS, so he just
lost his luster. You know what I'm saying? That was when he was, that was when he was setting it off right there, and
and this is with the Can't Go hat. People like him and LL, they had that little beef, between him and LL.
Kill that noise, right?
Yeah, beat biter and all that.
Yeah.
Man, his knowledge reigns supreme over nearly everybody.
There you go.
Man, here's another one, man. I hope they say his condition has gotten worse. He's in the coma, so The Biz Marquee.
Yeah, I hope he's man. Yeah.
And
Prayers go out to him.
he was like the first comedian of hip hop. You know, he came in with that goofy attitude. You know, fun loving spirit.
He made.
I know. Yeah, go ahead.
Nah, he made it okay to be a little chunky in hip hop.
Yeah, and then
for chunky boys, you know what I'm saying? If we had a dookie rope and we had a nice hat, the girls would be like, "Oh, okay, it's all good. He's still hip hop." You know, they wasn't gonna be like, "Oh, don't wear that, you fat." Nah.
Yeah, man. But when he did Just a Friend and he sung that hook,
right,
bro, that hook became legendary, man. It's like you can never go anywhere. And as soon as you bring up Biz Marquee, somebody's gonna bring that hook up.
You gotta see
you got what I need, but you say just a friend. Oh man!
And he was the first artist to get sued.
Yeah, copyright.
Yeah, so I mean, before him, like, and it was because he was so big with that song. They were like, "Well, hold on a second." You know what I'm saying? Let's go check this. You know, that's my song. And they didn't know
What's up?
We're making that much money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because hip hop was sampling in the 80s.
Yeah, for years. Well, prior, like Run DMC and everybody prior to that was like Larry Smith. So he was like they were like funk band people. And they played so sampling didn't really take off until Marley gets credit for it, but it was really KRS-One and Boogie Down Productions with Said G from Ultramagnetics producing all that stuff. He had the 1200 or the SP12, and he was doing all of that stuff for them. He did all those beats, you know what I mean? Like all that stuff that says produced by KRS and Scott LaRock now, that was all Said G from Ultramagnetic, you know what I'm saying?
That's another group right there. The Ultramagnetic MCs, Cool Keith, Said G.
There's so much to unpack with all this we're talking about. We're jumping around, but you know what I'm saying? Like I got some cool Keith stories I can tell you, man.
I just want to shout out Lewis from Instagram. They said, I think I saw an announcement yesterday that his condition had gotten worse and that he's in a coma now.
Yeah.
So prayers for Big.
That's nothing to play with, man.
Yeah.
Nothing to play with.
Yeah, like you said, you mentioned Larry Smith, you know, and his production for Run DMC. He did some stuff for Houdini.
He did all of
stuff. Like 5 Minutes of Funk is bona fide classic. That song, I can listen to that song on repeat at least 5-6 times, man. That shit.
I literally will turn it to 20 minutes of funk if you let me.
Yeah, I'll turn that sucker just repeat.
Yeah, just kidding. It'll be like once he says 5 minutes of funk, it's
man, I'll be blasting that on the road, bro. I'll like put that shit on, put the bass up. Woo!
Exactly.
I'll be on the road just.
Larry Smith was pretty much the dude that kind of like I didn't know any different, but I loved Larry Smith, man. I love all his stuff. You know what I mean?
Yep, that counts as old school. Beat Nuts.
Absolutely. Beat Nuts are old school, so whatever they put out doesn't matter what year they put it out there from their, you know, from the beginning. So yeah, Beat Nuts are lovely. She probably gets to see them more than we do.
Yep, Video Music Box made that Houdini song the theme song because that shit is legendary, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yep, Houdini Freaks Come Out at Night.
No.
Classic, man. And then I love a funky beat. Like the video I watched that video so many times as a kid. So many guest appearances in that video, bro.
If you look in there, you can see Jermaine Dupri when he's young. And you can see all kinds of stuff in there, man.
There's so many people that you know. You have Michael Jamal Warner. He was like the main kid in there with the glasses on and stuff. Then he started getting into it.
Start gigging.
Bobby Brown was in it.
Bobby Brown, Keith Sweat, all kinds of people were in that video, man.
Yeah, man, it was just so many great stuff. And Big Mouth was another one they did. I love
Mouth Almighty.
Yeah, that anybody that talk, man, I said you got the Mouth Almighty, man. Just shut up.
Right? Shut up. Nah, for real, man. Yeah, for me, it was like I was around, I remember when hip hop didn't exist, you know what I'm saying? So I remember it when it started, but like I was telling you earlier, it didn't really I didn't really want to do it until I probably got into like 6th, 7th grade. You know what I mean? Like that was when my uncle started, of course, uh, everybody has everybody experienced the crack era, you know what I'm saying? So when my uncle fell to his demons, you know what I'm saying, I kind of picked up where he left off because, his records and stuff were around. So I took some of his records and I wanted to DJ and stuff, but, my mom wasn't really understanding, because she was just like, whatever, I'm not paying $2,000 for no turntables, you know what I'm saying? So I would have the records and my friend had turntables, so we would DJ parties, you know what I'm saying, 7th, 8th grade, So I think 7th grade was when I started wanting to do it. We started doing talent shows and stuff like that, and then that's how I kind of got into hip hop, not just being like a fan, actually participating. You know what I mean?
I remember when New Jack Swing started getting big. It started with Keith Sweat and Guy, and that was like that fusion with hip hop and R&B with a little bit of Heavy D. Oh man, Heavy D. God rest his soul, man.
Heavy D kind of brought that to the. So Heavy D is like we were talking earlier. You said it was your favorite album. Heavy D not only mixed the New Jack Swing with the hip hop, but he brought house into hip hop.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? He was responsible for bringing Pete Rock because that's his little cousin.
And he fit in perfectly with the New Jack Swing because it was dancing too.
And he can dance. You
know what I mean? That brother can dance.
You know what I mean?
And Big Time was like the first album I listened to, and I just loved it from top to bottom, man. Right. Heavy D was just so charismatic, with his and all that stuff. I can never do it perfectly, but it was just awesome, man.
Nah, yeah, definitely, man. Like he was the. Like there was only a few in the beginning, you know what I mean? You had Run DMC, you had the Beastie Boys, you know what I mean? You had LL, you know what I mean? There was only a few. You had Curtis Blow. You had like 5 or 6 groups, and that was it.
Well, yeah, you had the Sugar Hill Gang,
but
and you had Grant.
They weren't really. They were like a boy band, and they put out that one song, and then nobody they were like, "We got this," you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but their contributions to the earlier days of hip hop was highly important, especially Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5. Yeah, the Message is one of the biggest songs ever.
Absolutely. But see, by that time, though, they were already old. By the time they came out, they were old.
That's the thing I really wanted to touch on, though, is that them guys had a short window. Oh, yeah. And then when Big Daddy Kane, Rakim, and KRS-One came out with this newer style of lyricism, they totally made them guys just old school, like completely. Yeah. And it's like
nursery rhymes, you know what I mean? They turned them into nursery rhymes, and it was like, oh, that's not cool. You know what I mean? Like,
and it's like I listened to some of the Grandmaster Flash stuff, and some of the rhymes was pretty relevant and still tight.
Now, Melly Mel was a good MC. He talked about the environment. You know what I mean? Like he was definitely a good MC, but it was like I said, you got to realize those guys were from the late 70s, early 80s, so they were the first victims of that era. You know what I mean? So when the Demons came out, they fell victim first. You know what I mean? Like everybody else was younger, so they kind of
they evolved the style.
Yeah, well, so they left off. They where you would want to go and rhyme, they were too busy partying.
Yeah.
I mean, so they weren't making songs like
when Rakim came out with his style of lyricism.
Yeah, he was hungry.
Yeah, I mean the God MC, he came in there and just lyrically murdered you. And the one guy that tried to hang on was the guy that LL battled, and that was Kool Moe Dee. He was from the old school.
Kool Moe Dee can still do it.
Yeah, he can still do it, but by the time LL them was popping, they considered Kool Moe Dee old school because he was around during those early days. But he was still relevant.
He gave him a run, though.
I loved his diss attacks on
Yeah. He gave him a run. He battled him. He battled him so well that nobody knew he was battling. They
All right, we got
later and say that, you know.
Big Al in the place with the Run DMC.
Bootney Lee Farnsworth.
I give you some bonus points if any one of y'all know where Bootney Lee Farnsworth come from.
That is from Uptown Saturday Night.
Yeah.
You are close, but not quite.
Up. Hold on.
You close.
Hold on. Not Uptown Saturday Night. It's from
you there?
It's from the first one.
A piece
of
the
Uptown was the first one. Let's do it again.
No, it was Uptown Saturday Night, a piece of the action, and then no, on my bad. It was
Let's do it again. That was the second one.
Let's do it again.
Yeah, it was Let's Do It Again, Uptown Saturday Night, and a piece of the action. Yeah. Good evening, everybody.
My uncle was in what's the one where they played baseball?
Let's Bingo Long in the Traveling All-Star.
No. It was when they played against
Billy D. Williams was in the movie.
No. It was Sidney Poitier and then they were playing against the two gangsters, man. I just went blank. Remember?
That was Uptown Saturday Night.
Itchy Dan Buford
and Silky Slim.
Silky Slim was my uncle. Right,
you know, I'm up on that blaxploitation featuring Uptown. As a matter of fact,
you just posted the Dolomite one.
The human tornado, man.
Yeah, human tornado.
Rat soup eating mother, you know. But speaking of Uptown Saturday Night, that happens to be one of my favorite LPs by none other than the Lowa, Camp Low. Man, them Jews were highly underrated back in the 90s. But I want to go back to something that you said, Big Reemo, about Biz. You know, the Fat Boys was actually representing Big Boys before Biz Marquee, man, even though they were comical with it.
But they made it look nasty. They made it gluttonous. You had to go to the bar and eat a whole pizza to be cool. And
you know what?
My personal time, but I don't want everybody knowing I do it.
You know what, Remo? I can dig that. You right, because when they came out with Jailhouse Rap, all they were talking about in that whole song was food and eating. The man broke into Burger King to eat.
Right.
The man got kicked out of an all-you-can-eat pizza place.
Biz made you want to get fresh. You know what I'm saying?
Vapors, bro.
You know,
vapors.
With the he had on the 90. He had on the gown, bro. He had on a gown with some 501 starch crease.
Then he repped Louis V on that particular video too.
I think he did.
I thought it was
a Louis Vuitton.
Yeah, I thought the Juice Crew rocked with Louis Vuitton. I could be wrong though.
It was a Louis Vuitton, but it was the pajamas. It was the long gown.
You're right. You absolutely right. You absolutely right. Now, I know y'all talking about Sean. You showed your favorite Biz CD. Mine is Picking Boogers.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
because he got a song called On and On. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. 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 I think he was freestyling that whole thing. That joker said, "I'm the Bismarck and I'm a short shot." All of a sudden, you. I'm like, come on, man, you didn't write that, Don.
all his best songs, Big Daddy Kane wrote.
Yeah, Big Daddy Kane was ghostwriting not ghostwriting, but he wrote a lot of their like he did Roxanne Shantae's songs
until he decided to come out and do his own thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Remember in the video, he had a Rasta tight Kango tilted to the side.
Yep. And then he was also in Slick Rick's video, Teenage Love, man. I remember that.
Oh, I saw a clip on Instagram the other day, and they were talking about that video. I didn't know Lil' Kim was in that video.
Yep, she's in the video too. It's a blink and you might miss a moment.
She's in that video.
Was she in it though? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, she was in it.
She's in it.
I posted the song last year, and I even mentioned Lil' Kim had cameo appearance. You might miss it if you blink.
Out of all the times I've actually, because that's one of my favorite Slick Rick songs, but out of all the times I've actually watched that video, knowing who Lil' Kim was, I never knew it. I never knew she was in that video.
Yeah, she was super young.
Yeah, she had to been like junior high school.
Yeah.
I was mid 80s, man.
Whoa, yeah, that was
I
80s.
probably was like in 6th grade, 7th grade. You know what I'm
So,
saying?
so you said the Run DMC, you know, and it was just by coincidence that I picked out this shirt, Sean, because Run DMC, I enjoy Run DMC. They were one of my favorites, but in as far as me, what the group that really got me into hip hop was a Tribe Called Quest.
Nice.
I had posted a while back on Instagram their first album, People Instinctive Paths to the Travel. People Instinctive Paths. I ain't gonna go through all the rest of that, but anyway,
you close enough.
I bought that tape because you know I'm old, but I bought that tape like maybe 5 or 6 times. That tape got so much rotation. I probably learned every song by heart on that tape probably within a month after having it. Oh, you got the Library of Congress in them Rubbermaid boxes.
You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, man, that was my group. I fell out with them when they came out with Beats, Rhymes, and Life because the Umar had started doing production like on a regular scale. Because I didn't realize up until the Midnight Marauders that Q-Tip was actually doing most of the production for. I thought it was Ali Shaheed Muhammad, but it was actually Q-Tip, and I was
did it all.
Right.
Like you said, until he met Jay Dilla, and then they formed the Uma, which was basically the same thing like you thought, but it was just Jay Dilla.
It was a different vibe to me, man, because you know
that's how I felt.
It was more heavy, you know. Their older stuff was more jazz heavy, more sample driven, and then they kind of kept with that, but then they started adding a bunch of like really heavy bass lines and stuff. And I remember, I'm gonna tell a quick story, and I'm gonna be quiet. I was working at an arcade when that particular CD came out, because at this time it was CDs. So I was working at an arcade down here in Georgia, and Beats, Rhymes, and Life came out. So I'm excited, man. Like, yo, man, I'm about to go down here to this Camelot Music. It was right down the way from where I used to work. Man, I go to the Camelot Music, right, and I pick up the CD. I come back up to the arcade. We had a little boom box with a CD player in it. I put it in there and I let it run one time. Man, I took that CD out and I gave it to a dude that was at the arcade. I said, man, you want a CD? He said, yeah. I said, here. And I just gave it to him. I was just that disappointed. Man, I ain't lying. I was that because it was different. I mean, Midnight Marauders to me is like the magnum opus.
Yeah, I don't know how Tacoma fell off with that.
And from them going from Midnight Marauders to Beats, Rhymes, and Life, and like I said, it was the production that did it. I really was used to what they did up until that point. You know, all the B-sides, If the Papes Come, all that stuff, you know. So
you know how artists try and change up, because they want to be artistic. They get some new production, and they want to change their sound up because they don't want to do the same thing they've done the last 3 albums. I felt that way with Beats, Rhyme, and Life when I first heard it. I'm like, it's okay, but it's not giving me Low End Theory vibes or Midnight Marauder vibes. And it took a long time for me to really appreciate that album more.
Yeah.
Matt, what's going on, bro?
See, for me, it was a lot different. Oh, go ahead. What's up, Matt?
What's up, Reemo?
What up with it?
What's up, Big Al? I see you over there, man.
Yeah, man, I got the shades on because I got a headache, not because I'm trying to look cool. But you know,
he's trying to look cool, bro. Man, come on with the nickname too.
Sean, hey man, I feel like in my heart of hearts I'm already cool. I don't need the shades, but thank you, sir. I appreciate it, man.
Hey, man. Sorry I'm late, man. But Al, I tell you, I text him. Hey, Reemo. Hey, I thought about Reemo before I got on. I said, boy, Reemo is about to lose his mind when I show him this. I got to show y'all this. So I text Sean and told him I was gonna be running late because I was at the comic book store. This is our local comic book store, which is the one that hey man, I had to. Hey Al, let me tell you how it went down. I was actually in Amazing Spider-Man looking for first appearance of Mr. Negative, and so I said, okay, well I'll look for that. And then something said, hey man, before you leave, stop by this section. And so I was like, we come in the store so much out that, I was thinking, we've been over here 1,000 times. There ain't nothing over there. So I just went through, start thumbing through. And then I said, holy smokes. I said, I looked up and I said, I got to get the hell out of here before somebody know what's going on. And boy, when you come up on a steal like this, man, I'm in shock.
My God.
What?
Look at that. Look at the price. Look at the price. Look at the price.
Oh my God.
Now
Look
you
at
killing me, man.
$15,
Oh.
bro. Hey man, I had ran that. I was on some new age stuff tonight, man. I was on the Flash.
Hey, real talk. If he see this video, he gonna ban you from the store. I'm just telling you right now.
$15, man. I was just like, just sitting in the box, mint condition.
Oh my goodness.
This will be going to get graded tomorrow. I'm gonna get this dropped off tomorrow to get slabbed.
And I know we talking about music, but Sean, I'm gonna show up on your show tomorrow. I got one that this joker right here. Anyway, y'all know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to point to my left, but he got me one, man. It's but I ain't gonna show. I'm gonna show it on your show, and then I'm gonna do a haul video, man. But yeah, man, yeah, I'm with you on that, Sean, man. I'm just like you with that Beats Rhymes in Life. It took me years to appreciate that because when they went to the next album, the Love Movement, I was more on board with that style because Find a Way was my joint off that joke.
Yeah.
Man. Now Remo, you talk about that 5 minutes of funk playing that about 20 times. Man, I have actually taken a trip from Macon to Atlanta. That's about an hour drive, and I played that song on repeat the whole time. Yeah. I went up because it's just certain hip hop songs, man. Like for example, I'm gonna go back to my boys Camp Low, highly underrated group. Lucini happens to be my favorite rap song of all time. Mm-hmm. That's just my joint, and this Lucini pouring from the sky. Let's get rich, what? The Chicky Vines and Sugar Dimes can't quit, what? Now pop the cork and steam the Vega and get lit. What? Introducing Phantom of the Dark walk through my heaven with levitation from Reese. She was NA7 Showboat and Rurugas. Black Farm Belafonte figures escape from what is worth as they confiscate your figure. Casanova levitating cheeky and Dashiki still out how the car 54 chasing diamond runners headed icebound. I'm done. I hear it in my head, Sean. I'm sorry, man.
Hey. We gonna have those type of trips on this episode.
Yeah. But I got some trivia on that. And Remo, you might know this. Did you know that actual track when Ski made it? You know who he made it for originally, right?
He made it for Jay-Z.
Yep.
Jay-Z and Ski used to do a lot of stuff back in the day, man.
I can see Jay-Z rapping over that, but I don't think they had the same effect.
I can see him rapping over the I can see him rapping over because that's the whole vibe of Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah, I agree. But I mean, just knowing or listening to Lucini, I would like to do like a comparison, a side by side, like what kind of song Jay-Z would have done with the track and compared to Lucini. I'm probably gonna be biased because I just love Lucini just that much,
It wouldn't sound the same. You wouldn't like it as much.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because the way it got done was the way it was supposed to be done.
That's true.
Yeah, Jay would have put his own style to it, and it would have been fine. Yeah. But after hearing Camp Low, like you wouldn't want to hear Jay-Z over it.
And that whole album, man, like I said, but going into this situation, right, I would say, and I know we ain't really got to that point. I'm sorry, Sean, for hijacking everything, but I think the best era of hip hop was the 90s, like from late 80s to like the mid 90s, right before the 2000s.
Yeah, the golden age.
Dude, there was so many artists that came out during that time. It was like
96.
Yes. It was like going by 96, 97. It was like going to your favorite buffet, and it's like everything. Like you got MC8 over here, you got Camp Low over here, you got Mike Geronimo over here, you got Iron Eye over here, you got Capone and Noriega over here, you got Wu-Tang Clan over here, you got Nas still doing stuff, you got Jay-Z.
Souls of Mischief, man.
I mean, Infinity, man. I'm talking about the Bush Babies.
Phariside.
Oh my God, the fart. And see, then what is that?
Hobo Johnson.
I mean, even the cats with one hits like Hey in the Middle of the Barn, man, you know, they was like they Crucial Conflict.
That's it. Hey, like you said the guys with one hits, you know, you had remember 9? We talked about 9 before, that classic song. Man.
I go, I get stranded for do this, stranded for do.
I keep mad.
So if you like Souls of Mischief, then this Hobo Junction was their arch nemesis. So this is
really?
This is Saphir's group.
Oh, Saphir.
Yeah, this is this is his crew.
Saphir did work with Roz Cars, didn't he?
Yep.
Golden State.
You know
that's all I remember him from.
Yeah. Y'all remember that Street Fighter?
He was a menace to society. He was Cousin Harold that got shot in the head.
Yep.
I tell you what, man. Me and Sean talked a couple weeks ago. Man, that beats rhymes in life. I was one of the few people that actually liked it when it first came out.
Yeah, me too. I was already I was in the game, so it was like I knew who he was, so I was always checking for his production. You know what I'm saying? So when he started doing all that stuff, I was all for it. I was all for it.
Yeah, the production work on that album was really good, and you know, Source went back. I think Source was, you know, Source did an issue there before they folded, where they went back and reviewed albums that they had harshly graded. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the ones that they actually said, you know what, we should I
probably have to look it up in one of these books, man.
Yeah,
I know.
I found my old Source magazines yesterday, man, up in the attic. Yeah,
I got a couple of them.
But the 90s hip hop was an era that, you know, when your ear hears it, you know what era you in just by when you hearing the music. It doesn't matter if it's West Coast. It doesn't matter if it's Southern hip hop. It doesn't matter.
I almost grabbed that for
you. New York. You know, I'm telling you, man, the 90s is nothing like it. There's a sound. It's a sound that we'll never hear again, and it's going to be a sound that I think is going to wind up being repeated. Once this hoopla that we hear now is over with, they're going to start going back. It's almost like education. It's the same way how when we were coming up, they went back and sampled older music from, you know, the 70s and 80s, you know, and then now you've got some of these guys are starting to say, you know what, this stuff is pretty good. Like if you get on YouTube, you see these young guys that's going back doing these reaction videos to stuff we grew up listening to, and they're like, wow.
Yeah.
I was listening. I was driving around with my daughter the other day, and there was an NBA young boy. I guess this is doing an NBA young boy. And he redid 50 Cent's For a Little Rich, but it's the same beat. But you can tell they redid it. But it was like, you know what I'm saying? It's not the same song, but it's the music is the same beat and everything. Like he had to pay for that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I'm like, that's from 2003.
Well,
you know.
But see, guys were hungrier back then.
Yeah,
and plus, these guys have access to equipment that back in the day, you would have had to break your arm and a leg. Now, Al is a DJ. Now, Al can tell you this. That equipment back in the day, you talking about buying, see? Back in the day, you trying to buy one of those, man, you got to come up.
Hey, I ain't gonna tell you what I had to do to get this.
Wow!
Don't do that because we are on a public forum and you don't never want to incriminate yourself, my man. Never.
Statute of limitations is over.
Yeah.
But you know, back in the day, man, you had to work hard. Look at this.
Hey, that's the one I got. That's the NBC Live, right?
Yes,
okay.
Sir.
That's what now.
Fooling with it, Al. We gonna have to.
Bruh, hey man, hey man, I do production too, man. Oh God, Reemo,
I'm telling you, man.
Reemo, please, sir.
A lot of you guys got what you have nowadays. You got guys that should not have access to the equipment, having access to that equipment. Yeah, you know. I mean, and what you've got is if you listen to the sound, there's nothing special about the sound. Whereas you look at the work that it took to go into making a track back in the day, and if Larry watching this, you know, even with West Coast, Look at Dr. Dre's production. Look at what's the can't think of the guy's name that's out there with him. Battle Cat.
Battle Cat.
Look at these guys' production. Back in the day, and then you look at the production you hear now. It completely all sounds the same. It's the same type cadence on the songs. It's the same.
We had more variety in the 90s than you have today. Because now today, especially in mainstream hip hop, everybody's style is damn near the same. You listen to one rapper, you hear another one that has the same style.
There was something for everybody, and you had your clicks. Usually, you gravitated towards people that had the same likes as you. That's why there were so many different groups of people that you could move around within. Like I had so many different sets of friends growing up. You know what I mean? I didn't have just one crew. Like I had crews from different areas. You know what I mean? And we linked up for different reasons. You know what I mean? And nowadays it's like you either like this person or you don't, and it's like that's all you have to choose from.
Yeah, you. Yep, and one other
cool stuff or you don't. You know,
and you being from the Bay Area is completely different from the LA, the styles. Yeah. Like you had hieroglyphics, you had Mac Dre, Casual, and
here was more so you
E40.
Like
I was just about E40.
I got into it early because out here our mentality is we could do it ourselves.
Yeah.
It's always a do-it-yourself mentality. It was like, oh shoot, I'll go to Guitar Center. I got money. I'll go buy a drum machine. I can do that. I know that song. I can make it. And you get into it and you start doing it, and then you start, oh, okay, well, I found this dude at the club. He can rap. Start buying studios or going to studios. You start making the songs. We're in LA or in New York. It was more so I got the talent, but I need somebody to help me do it. I need to get signed, and that was never the mentality out here. It was always like I can do it. I can do it myself. I'll go. I know where Pen and Pixel Graphics is in Memphis. I'll go call them and have them do my album cover. You know what I'm saying? I got $5,000. You know what I mean? Because you had a street element where the guys were in the streets, but they were rappers and producers and DJs. So they would take that money that they had all day. The money was flowing. So they was like, I'm gonna go buy a studio. I'm gonna go buy an MPC. I'm gonna go buy an SP. I'm gonna go buy, somebody's record collection. You know what I'm saying? Like all that type of stuff. Like Matt was saying, man, I used to spend weekends in record stores and antique shops, and just like I'm digging for comic books. That was why I stopped collecting comic books, because the records cost more than the comic. You know what I mean? I couldn't afford to do both.
Yeah,
And I was trying not to do bad, so I was like, okay, I only got this little bit of money. I want to go get that Spider-Man, but damn, I need to go find, I need some records. You know what I'm saying? I need to go find some. I gotta go dig. You know what I mean? So I stopped digging.
Get records, man.
Sean, put it down. Put it down. Put it down. Man, I'm telling you. Look here, brother. Let me tell you something, brother. Dude. Let me tell you something. That album. Oh, okay, all right. Also, one of my favorite.
EP.
This is the EP. This is before they had this. Is only like 2 or 3 songs.
For Mecca and the Soul Brother.
You know what? I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna get back to you, Sean. I miss the days, man, where you had maxi singles, where when you would go buy a single, like the newly released single, and then either on like the A side, they'll have like the album version, then they have the radio edit, then they'll have like a remix version, and then on the flip side, they'll have another remix version and the instrumental version.
I'm glad you said that, Al, because this is my boy, rest in peace. He got signed to Hollywood Basic. He put out a record and he got gunned down maybe like a month later, right?
Oh, man.
So this is his album, right? This is the single, right? And this is the B-side.
Oh.
So this is the B-side.
Lifters Group. Oh,
now, like these were felons that were in prison that they built a studio at the prison.
Yeah.
Wow.
For an album.
Yo, bro, I was thinking about bringing up that group because I watched that video they put out when they all in prison rapping and the prison numbers are their name. That shit is classic, bro. I love the Lifters Group.
This is
wow.
it. This is it.
But see, I missed that, man. Go ahead.
Yo, go check that video out. Lifers Group.
Yeah.
You know what, man?
That was huge for the time. That was huge. And Disney owned the record label. That's what's crazy.
Oh wow!
Disney owned it and put them on, and they were convicted murderers and felon. You know what I mean? They were in prison for life. And they were like the Wu-Tang Clan.
You know, speaking of Wu-Tang, it's funny because I was on the channel today, and somebody was talking about the experience. I think it was you, Reemo, talking about mixtapes and stuff. And I remember, man, my grandma, she used to do hair, and so she would take me to her little conventions that they would have. So I remember going, brother from Philadelphia, man, and he said, "Hey, man, what kind of music you listen to?" You know, me being from the South, I'm automatically thrown in the category of, you know, Goody Mob, Outkast. You know, automatically people assume that's what I listen to. Right. I said, "No, man, I listen to Wu-Tang." And he looked at me like I had 3 heads. He said, "You what?" I said, "Bro, I'm a start Wu-Tang fan."
Watch your step, kid.
Hey, he said, "Hey, man, he said, you gonna be here tomorrow?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Hey, man, I'm gonna bring you something tomorrow." So the next day he showed up, and he had the Daytona 500.
Oh, the single?
Yeah, I had not heard it. I never heard it.
Right.
And I was like, "Are you serious?" And so I brought the tape back home, and I let Chris hear it. And Chris was like, "Where you get this from?" I said, "This dude in Philadelphia, man. He gave me this cut." 3 weeks later, we turned on the Rap City, and we got the Speed Racers. We got the Speed Racers video. Got the cartoon on.
Oh, that video so classic, man.
Yeah, I love that.
I mean,
that video was so classic.
Yeah, nobody. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead and finish your sentence, man, and I'm gonna get back to that Pete Rock.
I was gonna say, that having that experience of having sometimes when you were coming up and having if a song came on the radio, you had to record it there on the spot. You know, like
most stuff.
If you look on YouTube, man, that they have somebody recorded a lot of DJ Premier's shows on Hot 97, and it's just like going back in time.
I have a couple of those shows, man. I used to listen to this show all the time with every weekend or every night. The DJs come on at 10 o'clock on Hot 97. Yeah. Whether it's Premier, whether it's Envy, whether it's what's his name? Stretch Armstrong.
Bobito,
Red Alert.
Yeah.
Look at that, man. I mean, that's what I'm talking about right there, man. That is it, man. At some point, we're gonna wind up having a class.
That's Jay-Z's first freestyle when he was on the radio, man. With Big L.
That
freestyle with Big L and Jay-Z's classic.
This is it.
Hey, in about 10 years, there's gonna be a college course on hip hop. Watch what I tell you. If it ain't already one now.
It's one. I think it's one at the University of North Carolina, and Ninth Wonder from Little Brother is actually teaching it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, Ninth Wonder's doing it.
To get back to that CD that you put up in your hand, Sean, I have to say that is one of the best Pete Rock albums that he has ever created. Man, that is one of the few albums, man, that I can actually put in from jump and just let it ride from the beginning to end and not want to skip nothing, man. I'm telling you, man, take your time. That's my joint off of that Joker.
Bro,
but
I remember when True Master came out, the song with Inspect the Deck and Corrupt, and you hear that beat. That beat drop.
Hey, let's not forget Verbal Murder too. Now with Big Pun and Comment on that sucker, and I think Norton was on there too. Man, that album is a straight up classic. Like if I had a museum of hip hop, that right there, that Soul Survivor, man, will go in that museum, man. That is one dope album for real.
I was telling Sean, I was like, I love Premier, you know what I'm saying? I met him, he's, good dude. He's one of my favorites, but Pete Rock to me is probably the best. And he has done more for the culture than anybody. That dude started at like 14 DJing for Marley Marl on the radio. Like, how could you not be who you are today if you didn't have that coming up? You know what I'm saying?
And Marley Marl drilled him.
Yeah, and your cousin is Heavy D. I mean, come on. They're around. They have them on digital. You can stream them if I'm not mistaken on their website. They have a website and you can stream all their stuff.
I don't know, man. Something about having a tape just feels nostalgic for me.
I got this from Fat Beats.
Yeah.
When I either when I lived in New Jersey or out here in LA on the West Coast. But I had the original tapes, but they were all like fried up. So I ended up they started really like I have what we would call we call them like the gray tapes. And these gray Maxell tapes would have like, you know, either masters from 4 tracks or you would get the best stuff you want. These cassette tapes were probably like $10, $15 a piece. You know what I'm saying? So if you put the good stuff on these, you know what I'm saying?
Hey Remo, what kind of tape was it again?
The Maxell, the XL90s.
Maxell. Ooh, yeah, that's
another classic.
the main ingredient.
Album right there. That's my favorite.
Ain't that's the one where I get physical and take you there on it, ain't it?
Yep.
That's boy. That's my favorite joint off the. I get physical.
I used that one right there. That's my joint right there.
And you know they were a great tandem. I don't know what happened because you know they don't talk on Instagram because I follow both of them. But
they're not cool.
I don't know what happened, man. But I'm telling you, I tell people this. That was one of the best duos as far as DJ MC. I still hold firm to this. This is my personal opinion. They Reminisce Over You is the greatest hip hop song that ever was created of all time.
Yeah,
I agree.
I can't argue with that.
Nope.
Especially considering the circumstances. Like,
Dude,
that was my summer song of '92, man. Whenever we have block parties, you guaranteed to hear They Reminisce Over You. Guaranteed.
That song, man, I'm telling you. I mean, and that song, you can play that song now in 2020. It's still relevant, and it sounds like it just came out yesterday. I mean, it was so clean. I mean, but the thing that I like about hip hop the most, man, is that when you hear certain things like They Reminisce Over You and Lucchini and other joints, it gives you an appreciation for music overall. You know,
yep.
The effects they want effects. You know, it gives you an appreciation because a lot of times, man, if it's a rap joint or hip hop joint that I like, I'll try to find the original. You know, I'll go to like who sampled it, DJ Evil D. That's Ice-T's DJ, ain't it?
That's Buckshot, Black Moon.
Oh, okay. Who got the props and all that? Okay, gotcha. But his name, it was Evil E. Evil E. Wasn't it?
Check this out.
Hey,
it's got the instrumental on it, don't it?
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen that.
This is
hey,
why
I saw that.
So this is why I went and bought the drum machine I just saw you. I seen it in the video for Benz or Beamer, and I'm like, I'm going and buying it.
Remo, I was in summer school in 1995. I think it was 95, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we was in math class and we took break. We was in summer school.
Mm-hmm.
And we took a break, and this cat said, "Hey man, y'all come here, man." And so we had one of those old tape, the old tape that your grandma take to church.
Yeah.
That you used to record church service with, man. Right. And I'm laughing because he knew exactly what I'm talking about.
Turn your Bibles to Psalms chapter 18, verses 25.
And so he cut it on, man. And when I heard Elevators for the first time, that's one of those songs that just was like, wow, this is something special. And it's the most simplest song. But the delivery and the way the song is put together, it's just like when you hear these songs, man, it's like it makes you stop in time and you knew exactly what you were doing, you know where you were at. It's just like that Soul Survivor album. I remember hearing that cut with Inspector Deck, sitting in my living room and watching it because it was the one with the video where it went on the racetrack, and I was like, oh my God. This is Pete Rock. He's back with this. It's almost like, how can you upstage yourself? Oh, he comes out with another album that outdoes the ones that he did before. The production work on that album is in my top 5. People were like, man, how you? I was like, this is one of the best pieces of work I have ever heard in my entire life. There's only one other DJ that I even remotely put close up to the Pete Rock, and that's Dilla. And,
Yeah.
and anybody that know me know I'm a Dilla mark. And
Yeah.
I'm telling you, go ahead, Al.
Nah, I'm about to kind of rebut what you said, but not really rebut because I agree with you say. Dilla was in the whole category on his own, man.
I
I mean,
agree.
you can't. I mean, no respect to Pete Rock at all, but Dilla, man, I'm talking about Donuts. I'm talking about Slum Village. I'm talking about. I watched the video on how he actually created the Stakes is High beat for De La Soul.
That's another
Dude,
thing we gotta talk about.
man, I'm telling you, man, it's like
Bro.
I'm telling you, it's amazing, man, because you know it's like that's
Dilla took to a
go
whole
ahead,
other
Remo.
level. Dilla took chopping samples to a whole other level.
Yeah.
Whole new level,
He
man.
didn't just loop like most people would just sample 4 bars, 8 bars, and
Yeah.
just drop some drums behind it. He would chop it up, into like 64 different things, and he would go through each one and he would play it to the speed, slow it down, whatever he needed to do to make it fit properly out in whatever. If he had to pitch it up a couple semitones or drop it down, he could do it manually, and most people couldn't comprehend. They didn't want to take the time. He didn't have nothing but time. Like,
His
But you know,
quantizing was like just it was man, that dude was on another level. I'm sorry, go ahead, man.
but you know what? The first time I heard Dilla, I was in Chicago, and I went to go visit a friend, and so I was just chilling in my room, and up north, y'all up northerners, Sean, y'all have y'all random hip hop shows that come on TV out of nowhere, and so they had some kind of late night show came on, and I heard Climax for the first time, and when I heard the beat, I was like, oh my, I was like, what is this? So immediately I got back home the following Sunday. I went straight to Media Play. I wrote everything down on paper. Went
you play
straight to Media Play. Walked over there and bought the Slum Village album. So
Oh
I let
man, I love that. I love that Slum Village album, man.
let my best friend hear it. He comes back to me a couple of months ago. He was so blown away by the album. He said, "Well, I got to find out who produced this shit." And so he came back, and that's how Donuts came up. Al, he brought it. He's like, "Hey man, you got it." He waving it like this. "Hey man, you got to hear this." And normally when my boy, who's on the same plateau as all of us when it comes to hip hop, he was going nuts. I was like, "This dude must be mighty serious, man. If you going crazy like this." Let me tell you something, man. When I heard Dilla, when I started delving deeper into Dilla, man, let me tell you. And I found out he did Stakes is High. I was like, oh my God. And then when I heard the sample he took it from, me being a jazz man, when I heard the sample he took it from, I said, oh, this dude here is the truth.
Yeah.
Dilla, hey, I don't care what Larry say. I don't care what nobody say.
Where Larry at? Because Larry keep coming up. We need Larry on here.
The man is in the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
Yep.
Any rapper that's Smithsonian, there's no debate to be even talked about.
The man touched a lot of people with his music and his production.
The first time I heard him was when I told you about my friend Charisma when he passed away. His DJ was Peanut Butter Wolf, and
I know about Peanut Butter Wolf. Yep.
Yeah.
He has a record label called Stone's Throw. So this was when he had first started. So I want to say this was like 95, 96. So he used to get demo tapes, because he was an independent label, so people would send him demo tapes. So they used to do these things called spec. Al knows what the spec remixes.
Mm-hmm.
So people would send in all these remixes. So he sent in a tape of like all these remixes. He did like Abandon Ship for Busta Rhymes. He did Stakes is High. He did probably like 3. And then now mind you, this is pre-Stakes is High. This is before all of that stuff. This is before he was even in the UMA. He hadn't even done all that stuff yet. And I had a demo tape that had all those remixes on it. It was no Slum Village stuff. I didn't know anything about Slum Village. I just knew it was Dilla, and he was JD at the time, and he had all those remixes. It was that one, and then another demo tape by a group called Company Flow, which was
Company Flow LP.
Yeah,
and I know Fun Crusher. Fun Crusher was one of them songs. Yeah.
Yep. And I had those two, and I still got the vinyl from LP. It's a clear vinyl for that album. Yeah, but that's how I heard him. And then after that, he just took off, man. Once he met Q-Tip, man, it was all over, man. That was that plateau he needed, or that platform he needed.
Yeah, I mean, it just the sound, man. I mean, to this day, man, I can listen to anything he produced.
Yeah,
and it's anything, and it still sounds like it's brand new. It sounds fresh.
And as Al knows, Dilla produced donuts on this in his hospital bed before he passed away.
I mean, you gotta look at the art form of being able to produce that kind of music on your deathbed, knowing that you might not be here, and you producing that
on 8 pads.
Unbelievable.
Songs on 8 pads.
I know, Sean. Wipe your eyes again, Sean. Sean over there shedding tears.
All right, man. Dilla was a huge part of our lives, man, with that music, man. Like I said, I love that Fantastic Volume 1 by Slum Village and Dilla, man. That was amazing.
Welcome to Detroit.
Yeah.
That album was hands down my man. That was a
like water for chocolate.
People heard it like they need.
Oh, that album. That album took a while for it to grow on me, but man, it's just something about it. I was like, man,
because that was him. That was him in his element. That was him.
Yeah, it was him in his element, and it was just continuing to. I was like, man, it's a classic album, man.
It wasn't him with Tribe. It wasn't him with Slum Village. It was him being JD. It was Dilla.
Yep.
That was the Dilla persona. Was that album? Welcome to Detroit.
Have y'all watched the last season of Hip Hop Evolution?
Is that the
one
on Netflix? Yeah, go watch that. Yeah. They had a part in there where I forgot who it was that was in the studio with Dilla or whatever. It say he walked outside and Common was sitting on the couch. Yeah. In his pajamas and house clothes, something like that.
Yeah.
And he was getting ready to go record like Water for Chocolate. But that was when everybody was trying to, after he met Q-Tip and everybody was like, "Hey man."
Was that Busta Rhymes? I think it was Busta Rhymes.
Yeah, Busta Rhymes said. Yeah, Busta Rhymes said he walked out and Common was sitting on the couch. He was like, "Man, what you doing here?" And he was like, "Oh, we gotta work on this album." And so everybody was going to running the Dilla trying to get their album done by him.
Because he had that full blown studio in the basement.
Yeah, man. Just imagine had he, Lord will, if he would have stayed around, we probably wouldn't be having. There's a lot of guys.
Go listen.
And I already know I'm going to go with this. There's a lot of guys that would not be around today. Yeah. If Tupac had not have died, B.I.G. had not have died, and it had Dilla not died.
And Big L.
Big L. Oh my God.
It wouldn't have been the music that we know right now. That this whole 2000 to 2020 shit, it would have been totally different. Totally different.
My thing is, I felt like after 97, we done went into the shiny suits, bling bling era, and that is where I started to like tune the fuck out.
Yeah,
like there was some cats I still like. DMX, I fucked with X because he brought that the Rough Riders and stuff like that. But man, I look back at a video one time. I think it was DITC 1994 on Instagram. And it was going through the MTV of 99, 2000 when Hot Boys was rolling with the Cash Money Click and all the bling bling and stuff. And I was like, man, I lived that shit, and now I hate it even more because it made hip hop more materialistic and money driven and mainstream than it ever been before. You had your mainstream acts back in the 90s, but they wasn't like constantly shoving that mainstream shit down our throats. We still had balance. By the late 90s, early 2000s, that balance has been destroyed.
Well, that was what we said, though. We said that there was something for everybody in that golden era. By the end of that time, there was not something for everybody. It was one thing at a time. You know what I mean? Our attention span wasn't enough to be able to say, well, I don't like that, I'm going to go do this. It was all or nothing. You know what I mean?
You had Puff Daddy or nothing else. Let me tell you something. I had a guy tell me one time, man, this one cat was like, hey, man, I remember this guy worked with at Steinmart. He said, hey, man, Matt, he said, when I go pick up a CD, he said, if I see the name in gold, I don't even waste my time with it, bro. He said, because I already know. I already know.
That was all of No Limit and the Cash Money.
I just started listening to really listen. Sean, back then, I was so entrenched in Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep. It's hard. It's hard for me to go from sugar to shit on
Yeah.
purpose. It's hard. I'm not knocking.
Lewis brought up earlier, Black Thought, The Roots. That's that
Absolutely.
quality music.
Philadelphia Half-Life is another one of those albums, man. Bro.
There you go.
But I heard
I listen to that album nonstop.
what they do. I can play that backwards and forth all day.
Hey, Do You Want More was dope too now.
Hey, Organics was
Yep. People forget about Organics.
The first one with him and what's his name that just passed away, the other MC. From the
not I know
Malik
B. Yeah.
He just passed away maybe like a month ago.
Yeah,
man.
When it was him and Black Thought just going
that was the quality we listened to. When the Roots came out of nowhere, they just grew and grew and grew, and then they did the song with Erykah Badu, and they were big time. But it was natural, organic, and it was still relevant to what we love about hip hop.
Yeah.
By the time we got to Cash Money and stuff, I'm going through these Source magazines. And matter of fact, I got right here, right there. This is what we saw on the Source magazines, man. I'm holding up them gold teeth on all their mouths. I'm like, come on now.
And the thing with that was though, see, like in the Bay Area, that's how they was looking, but they was doing they was sample based music. Like,
hey, Reemo, see what you been out west.
It was all sample based until you moved back to Louisiana.
Reemo, what you been out west, man. I mean, back in the, and I know I'm gonna go back a little bit, man, but back in the 80s, man, like when cats like Ice-T showed up on the scene, man. Like you said, these guys, they were hardcore, but they had the sound was different.
They were because see, like Ice-T, for example, if you brought him up, he was New York based.
So he's from the East.
He was in the Rhyme Syndicate with, you know what I'm saying, with Africa Islam and all them from the what do you call it? From help me out, Al.
The not native tongues, or is it native tongues?
No, that's Bush baby.
Zulu Nation.
Yeah, that native tongues. They about to, native tongues. You're right.
So so that's why it was a little different for like Ice-T and like that era of people, because then it changed and then it went, because I remember when Eazy-E came out, he came out when I was like in 7th grade. And that changed everything because that brought the gang culture.
That
area, we don't have gangs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't have gangs like that. Like everybody's for whatever, you know what I'm saying? They're about the money. So there's no gangs like that, you know what I'm saying? And that brought the gang element to everywhere. So it changed the vibe. So then people were, you weren't going to parties and dancing. You was going to parties and you might get shot or you might get stabbed. You know what I'm saying? So that made people stop going to, to having house parties, but that was where the DJs were. You know what I mean? That was how you were hearing the music. Then it was, you had to be in your car, you know what I mean? Or in your Walkman. Like it was a total different vibe,
The Spice One.
Spice One.
Yeah, you forget about Spice. What's that album? America's. I can't remember.
Bring up the Jungle Brothers.
America's Nightmare, man. Yep.
Bro, Spice One is he had like a whole bunch of albums, man.
Yeah.
You know who was big in the Bay Area but went unnoticed until he passed away was Mac Dre.
Mac Dre was a legendary fellow out here, man. Definitely, he
put a lot of content out. I was like, wow, I didn't know he put out that much.
Bro, there's so many albums, and it's much like we're in Georgia, like where Brother Matt and Brother Al are from. You got a lot of artists that don't necessarily get the shine because they are from where they're at. You know what I'm saying? But I could show you people that.
Dude, it's chaotic. I'm going in tomorrow, I think.
Like, for instance.
Spice One, yep.
These are people that never came out. You know what I mean? These are all like. This is the first. These have like. Look at who's featuring on the albums.
Tupac, Richie Rich, the Loonies.
I remember Richie Rich.
Good God.
This is all local stuff for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Man, hey man, he be talking about my comic collection, man. Look at them, look at them albums over there, man.
I didn't even bring all my CDs. I got like 3 drawers and a whole shelf of them.
this was like our Meek Mill back in the day.
Hey, look at that. Hey, hold it back up. Hold it back up. Bring it back up. Look at that hair, y'all. Look at that hair.
That was the MC Brains of the West right there.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like that's just a smidgen, man. I could go to the record store in the 80s and early 90s, and there was just not as much, if not more, local rap albums on the wall than there were everybody else. So you would really have to go into a store and actually decide. Like, I remember when Wu-Tang's album first came out, I had to decide between Wu-Tang, Snoop Dogg, and Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Oh man, Del.
And I bought
Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Oh, I got the comic book over. I see, yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah, that album is dope, man. People sleep on Del.
I went back and got Wu-Tang and I went back and got Snoop, but I'm saying, like, you had to make choices. It wasn't like you could just, you know what I mean? And then as I got older, then I could walk in and buy whatever the new releases were. I want them all. Let me get all of them. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll just put them in my CD changer and then I'll figure it out as I go. You know what I mean? But it was like, you know, you had to make a choice. You know what I'm saying? Like, there was so much to choose from, whereas now it's like, and when I mean by choose from, it was because it was actually a tough choice. It was like, damn, that album is dope. That album is dope. I done heard 2 or 3 songs from that one on Rap City, and and the album comes out today, and I got to decide if I want to buy that one or one of the other 2. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I remember those days when going into Beat Street and having to make a choice on what cassettes I want. Because back then, you get your allowance and you can only afford the cassette because the CDs was like $15, $20.
Yeah, the CDs. Remember they
were more than that, Sean. They were like 25.
Yeah.
Remember when they used
to Tupac CD, the All Eyes on Me was like $30+. I'm like, hell no, man.
I remember buying Gangstar's Step in the Arena, right? And it had this, and I bought that and Audio 2's album at the same time, and they both came out on the same day. That shit was like $32. They were like $28 a piece when they first came out. CD.
Where were you getting that kind of money at back then? That was like back then. There was a hell of a lot of grass getting cut.
Yeah, I had a paper route.
Yeah, a paper route.
The face said it all. Paper route, you say?
Hey man, I'll tell you. Back in the day, you know, me and Larry joked about this a while back. We were riding, going to the store, and Larry was talking about the double album. Yeah, Larry was talking about the double albums, and you know, this is when you talk about Sean. You talk about the quality of hip hop. Back then, if you were bold enough to release a 2 CD album, that meant you had to deliver.
Yeah, because
that's 2 discs, man. You know how expensive? Like I said, you know that is like buying a Hawk 181. You know, hey, you know, and you know, back when Wu-Tang dropped that double album, when they dropped that double
Forever.
album,
Oh man,
you remember? Yeah. Now for y'all remember now? A lot of folks considered that a flop when it came out. And then I was one of the people that was like, I liked it. You know, I was like, it was dope. But you know, then you had Tupac drop his album, and then it was somebody else that it came out with
the first person to drop a double album was E40. It was Element of Surprise. And then Master P.
Was that before Ice-T's double album?
Yeah.
I never knew that. Learn something.
When Ghetto D a double album too.
That came out after.
That wasn't Ghetto D was a double album.
Yeah, Ghetto D was a double album.
Damn, I'm getting old, man. I can remember.
All song I liked on that juggle was Let's Get 'Em. That's it. I'm like,
before he put out Ghetto D though, he put Down South Riders. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember,
you know, Master P.
It had on the cover. It had the horse and carriage with the big old rims on it. had UGK and trying to get a meal ticket and all that on there.
There's some cats I got into later in the game. You know how you listen to guys and then you hear about them and then you get into them later. UGK was a group because I was listening to SWAT House and all that stuff.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But somewhere or another, UGK just went by me, and then I started going back listening to UGK and was like, "How did y'all let this
I
get
did the
past?"
same thing. I think I started listening to UGK after Big Pimpin'.
Yeah,
and I wasn't a big fan of Big Pimpin'. You know, I was
that was them jumping the shark for me.
Yeah, you can hear it in their work. They
said they didn't. Pimp C didn't even want to do that, but Bun B talked into it. But I want you guys to since I know you got Matt and probably Al, I'm sure they know about it. But if you get a chance, go listen to 8 Ball and MJG's In My Lifetime Volume 2.
That's a good one, man.
I just smile.
That's a good one, man.
Produced by Mr. DJ from Outkast. That is the best album I want to say that was put out in that time frame, and it is so underrated.
When that one had candy coated on it?
No,
it wasn't. Okay,
this one sounds like an Outkast album, but it's
that's why I like it because I remember when I first sampled it. I was like, man, this got an Outkast feel to it, and I liked the Outkast at the time. Outkast was huge.
This
so
was
right
after probably Elevators and all that. Yeah.
But you know what though? This is the crazy thing about the South, and Matt could attest to this. Like when the dawn of hip hop, when it came around, it was a predominantly New York thing. Up north, and I had heard, back then that there were artists back on the matter of fact that one evolution of hip hop mentioned that the West Coast rap game was really strong, but it was more of an underground thing. Heather B, all Glocks down, hit them with that funky sound. I could break them down like whenever you want. But
he was recording this on the Real World when they
yep. But as far as it goes, man, the South really up until the early to mid 90s, we really didn't have no representation. Like the only cat that I know of, y'all probably gonna laugh at this. The only cat that say what now?
MC Shy D.
Man, get out my head, Reemo. But seriously, he ain't lying. He ain't lying.
I listen to Miami bass music, everything. I listen to all that booty shake stuff, all of it, man. I was a fan of music, man. I didn't see Regions because I had family from there.
Right.
So I didn't see it as a negative. I was like, okay, shit, that means I can go visit them, and they got some shit going on too.
Well, Reemo, you gotta think about it, man. Back in from 86 from 86 to what, Al? Probably 92, 93?
92, 93, yeah.
Yeah. You went straight from, the advent of hip hop, and then you went straight into the Miami bass, Miami bass sound.
Everybody has their regional sound. That's why I like it now. There's no regional sound.
Yeah. But even still though, I ain't mean to cut you off, but with Shadi, he actually, I wouldn't say, because Shadi was from up north and he moved down south. Right. He had more of a northern feel, but he repped the South like super hard. Super hard.
Once he got there, he was like, shit, ain't nobody.
Hey, man. Hey, he had what I like to call he was the big fish in the small pond. Yeah, and he came right down, and you can do what you want to do.
Yeah, man. Once you move from somewhere else and don't nobody know you, you can make mistakes and you ain't afraid to make them. And I'm like me, when I moved to New Jersey, man, I went straight to the record label, got me a job. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have did that out here, but I wasn't afraid for them to tell me no out there. You know what I'm saying? I went right to work for the Hankersons. You know what I'm saying? Right after Aaliyah died, I was working.
Bear Hankerson?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
I worked for Jimmy Henchman. They were a subsidiary of them. I worked for Henchman Records.
Remo, it's funny Remo brings that up. That's another point that when we were talking about entry level to hip hop back in the day, you had to actually go through some hoops and hurdles
Yeah, man.
to
Yeah.
actually get.
Yeah,
You know,
man.
these guys now, man. I'm gonna cut a track in my grandma's basement while I'm watching reruns of Mama's House,
Yeah.
and then we're gonna upload it. Yeah, we're
Put
gonna
it on
upload it.
SoundCloud or Spotify.
Yeah, and now we got the Migos.
Back then, rappers didn't have that platform, and then when they did have a little bit of something, like they signed to a lower tier record label, and they put out a few songs, they went nowhere. They disappeared. People don't talk about some of the underground acts of the '90s until YouTube put them out there more. Like I remember when Dysfunctional Family, that video, New Rough Flavor first played on YouTube. I was like, yo, this song went unnoticed, and they from Brooklyn, and I was like, yo, that shit was fire, man. And like they got a new following for it.
The entry level was a lot higher, like you said. When you had to get a drum machine, if you went to buy an SP1200 or an MPC 3000, that shit was minimum $4,000, bro.
Yep.
If you didn't have that kind of money, you wasn't going to pay $150, $200 an hour to go record at a studio with an engineer that didn't make the type of music you made.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like you go to, if it was bad enough when I did spend the $3,000 or $2,000 for a keyboard and went to the studio and I had the beats made, the engineer didn't know how to record them. Because he's used to recording rock and roll music.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So you got to explain to him what you're trying to do, you know?
Steve.
So it was a
But you know what though? It's crazy, Remo, because little known fact, most people don't know. I mean, aside from the fact that I'm a musician, I had two friends, they worked for Dallas Austin back in the day, at DARP. And the matter of fact, we went to school.
I wanted to move out there. I wanted to know how far Fitzgerald was from Atlanta so bad, so I could move out there, so I could just go try and get me a job at DARP. But go ahead, yeah.
It wasn't that far, man, because I actually went up there because me and one of my brothers, we're musicians.
Right.
We actually tried to get a production deal. One of my homeboys, man, because another little known fact, I was in an R&B group back in the 90s, so
No.
Yeah.
Hey man, don't let Al fool y'all. Hey, don't let Al fool y'all, man. He got equipment over there. Don't let him fool you.
I already know, bro.
Al can sing. Don't fall for it.
Hey, when I first started talking on here with Al and I seen his mic, I'm like, oh, this motherfucker know what he's doing.
I got that voice, man.
Hey man, but it's crazy though, because I mean, y'all are right. I mean, the process that we went through, man, I'm telling you no lies, man. When I was in that group, it was like, man, we would go up to Atlanta, man, and we would go. I remember, man, we sung at a comedy show. It was a showcase, and Dave Chappelle was actually the headline. And
a lot of people don't know about Trends of Culture, man.
Wow.
Hey, man. Cellar dwellers, dog.
Yo, you know who follows me on Instagram? Who produced a good portion of that Cellar Dwellers? Produced Nick Wiz.
Oh, Nick Wiz, yeah.
He remember Milkbone?
Yeah.
He produced a couple tracks off Milkbone's album, man.
He did. Nick Wiz did Artifacts too.
Artifacts. He did Rand Reed. He did he produced a lot of people in the '90s. Went unnoticed until he put the Cellar sounds together.
Hey, y'all talking about guys. Talking about guys that went under the radar, man. Y'all remember All City?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's another album. Like you go back and listen to the album now, you're like, wow.
You do it then, you didn't give it the proper.
Yeah.
But if you listen to it now, man, it was perfect. It sounds great.
There's a lot of cats that went unnoticed, man.
Well, see, that's what I said. Earlier in the conversation, man, it was so much talent, both above and underground, to where the market was just like, it was just too much. I mean, the 90s should have actually extended another 5 or 10 years for those artists to be able to flourish, man.
Industry though, it built the industry.
Yeah,
it built the industry to the point to where it was able to make 20 years of mistakes these last years. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Literally built the industry, just like you could say the drug built Miami. You know what I'm saying? Like if it didn't happen, it wouldn't be the way it is now. Because like you said, said, Matt, it's gonna come back around.
Oh yeah, it said
I'm gonna be able to fire up this drum machine, and Al gonna be able to do some stuff, and we're gonna be able to get right back into it. And it's gonna be like with little to no effort because we already know the game.
Yeah, when you hear guys like Kendrick Lamar, you know, I had a buddy of mine, and we listen to some of these new guys, and you can actually hear the changing of the sound a little bit.
Yeah.
They're starting to kind of.
Hey, this is what we're gonna be. We're gonna be like Greg Nice and Smooth B coming back as old heads dropping
Hey,
it, man.
I'm about to go dig that starter jacket out the closet and get back on it, Doc.
Hey, have y'all heard that Run the Jewels that features Greg Nice in it?
Yep.
Yeah.
His thing with Greg Nice, man, that dude is like the purest freestylist because he don't have no structure to his rhymes. He just going off the top of his dome.
Hey man,
Hey man said,
so many artists that like. I think a lot of these people kind of like I'll even say it, man. Like Jay-Z, he holds a lot of people back.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying, like, you can't tell me that Sauce Money shouldn't have at least 2 or 3 more albums out by now.
Hey man, you talk Jay-Z. Let me tell you something. You talk about guys that, and me and Sean talked about this last week. You know, AZ should the amount. It's like he is like, how is this man not bigger than what he is? I mean, we talk about.
Sometimes these dudes don't want it.
I hope
AZ wanted it, but he didn't get it because after Do or Die, the 2 albums he did after that, he was trying to get that mainstream recognition with some of those songs, and them albums did not work, man. I tell you.
When he chopped up the DeBarge, I was like,
oh no.
I was like, I don't know if
but you know what? Just off the
strength,
just off the strength of Life's a Bitch, man. I remember listening to that. I thought he outshined Nas on that.
Completely obliterated Nas on there.
He did. That was
man,
the problem.
Hey, when Nas make fun of Eminem killing Jay-Z on his own shit, don't forget you got killed by AZ on his debut.
He should have let Jay-Z go first. I mean AZ go second, man. Because when I heard first time I heard that, I'm like, man, what this dude visualizing the realism of life and actuality. Fuck who's the baddest, the person the baddest salary.
Ooh, whole hopping Jackie, man. hey, bro, when I heard that in that first cut, when he went on that first line, I was like,
dude, I was like, that shit is amazing, man. But this is the crazy part. That was in 92?
No, that was 93. Yeah.
Yeah, it was recorded in 92, 93.
It wasn't 95.
Okay, so Illmatic came out like in 94, 95?
Yeah, Illmatic 95. Yeah.
He came out right after Illmatic, right?
Yep.
And Nas was how old when he did Illmatic?
18.
Hey, you remember when Nas first appeared on Breaking Atoms?
Yeah. At the barbecue? Yeah, live at the barbecue, yeah.
Woo! Man, talk about lyric stealing performance.
Bro, I'm telling you that today, man. They was playing that on Shade 4-5.
Rap has gotten lazy, man.
I got goosebumps talking about this. I got goosebumps talking about Nas and AZ because that's what I'm talking about. By the way, me and Nas share the same birthday. Fun fact. But Nas, when I first heard that album, man, I just was like, Jesus Christ. And this dude is like, how old is this guy? 18?
18.
And I'm like, how did this happen? I mean, the whole album from front to back, from back to front. I know folks want to go, hey man, with Jay-Z. There's no Jay-Z versus Nas because Nas got the job done at 18, bro.
Yeah.
The dude set the bar for a sound at 18 years old.
And that whole Main Source album was dope as fuck.
Yeah,
but Nas came in there with that one verse.
Yeah, friendly game of baseball.
Which just like Luis just said about Large Professor. Large Professor, he don't really.
Who said something about Large Professor?
Hey man,
in the comments, in the chat, he said he didn't get enough props, and he doesn't.
He did not. Large Professor.
Extra Pre gets no props, man.
I always celebrate him on his birthday with mass posts because man,
Large Professor did did Let the Rhythm Hit Him. He did that whole album. He did Eric B and Rakim's what was the album? The one with Mahogany and all that on there. He did
Yeah.
He
did
did.
that too.
He did all the Raps albums. He did, man. Come on.
He did one of my favorite songs on Midnight Marauders. I can't remember the name of it, but 5 stars. Swing, swing, chop, chop, chop. Yo, that's the sound when MCs get mopped and come around town without the hip and the hop. Because when the shit,
that was the one song that wasn't credited to any of the tribe. It was Large Professor that did.
It was Large Professor. Because Tip said in the song, extra P hooks the beat.
Was it Extra P? Was it him or was it Skeff Anselm?
It was Large Professor.
He produced
Large Professor actually rhymed on the track too, but yeah, he produced that track. I can't remember the name of it.
Professor underrated as an MC too, man. Like people talk about his production skills, but I like when he be dropping his verses, man.
Yeah, man. He's one of those guys, man. He's a smooth operator, man. That's why I consider him a smooth operator, man. He come in, he drop a nice laid back, cool beat, man. Nice rhyming flow, you know. And like he said, man, this is a guy who you don't hear anybody say much of anything about him. But when you go back,
him and DJ Premier share the same birthday. They same birthday. DJ Premier tends to get majority of the love. I get both because I man. People talk about Pete Rock, they talk about Premier and stuff, but I like Large Professor is right there. You gotta add Large Professor. He worked on Illmatic, one of the greatest albums of all time.
All right, so I'm glad you brought that point up. Go back and look at that album. Nas had every top-notch DJ on that. It was the all-star album of DJs. Joker's like, hey man.
So that was the gift and the curse, though, because they said that album was kind of what did it in for the one producer album.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I mean,
that's kind of. I mean, I think that was probably the greatest album ever done, but I could also see where it kind of ruined it for the one producer taking the helm and producing a one cohesive album. That was more like a compilation, but it was out of necessity because he had to get it done, and he didn't have time to sit in with any one producer, and he wanted those guys to work on his album.
Hey, can I shift this for a second? I'm gonna go so Alfred can enjoy this. Another cat, man, that changed my life in the hip hop, man, was MF Doom.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Hey, when I heard MF, first off, I'm a Sade fan. Second off, when I heard him remix Shot Day, I was like, oh, automatic. This dude here, man. I was like, that's it.
Lucky he live out there where y'all at too.
I was like,
the crazy
bro.
part is though, like. I was gonna say this before earlier in our conversation when you were saying that if Dilla was still around, that a lot of people wouldn't laugh. But he did an album with Madlib, that Mad Villainy, and then Dilla did the J-Lib. Those two albums are, I won't say they're underrated, but a lot of people haven't heard them. And if they ever heard those albums, they will understand that what Dilla had the ability to bridge the underground and the mainstream.
Yeah.
And I think that was what his calling was, and he didn't really get to fulfill it. But that's what happened, is he would have been able to bridge, he would have been able to get a Madlib or a MF Doom back into the forefront like his days of KMD. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think that missed out.
Man, that dog going all caps, man. Accordion. Man, I can play accordion all day long.
Rap snitches, beef rap.
Yeah, man. I'm telling you, man. That dog going MF Doom.
Yep, I'm telling you guys in the
Special
chat,
Herb.
You know who they are. You guys got to go and Google some of these people we talking about, man.
Operation Doomsday.
Operation Doomsday.
That's my favorite MF Doom, man.
Yeah. I love that cover, man. Operation Doomsday,
Dr. Doom,
man. I just love the fact. I just love the fact that he took the Dr. Doom persona and just made it his own.
Yeah.
He is the super.
Scholar Rock.
Hey, man, my boy, Dr. MF Doom, man. I'm telling you. That was another guy that my best friend put me on. He put me on this. He put me on. I actually heard. Well, I had heard the first. Yeah, the KMD. I heard the KMD stuff, and then I heard his solo, and then from that, that's all I thought. That's all he did.
Remember when KMD made their debut?
Peach Fuzz.
Nah, third base.
Third
Oh,
base.
yeah. Gas Face. That's
Gas
right.
Face.
And to me, growing up, like that was always the saddest story in my life because his brother was they were inseparable.
Like that. Yep.
When he died, he literally fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah, he went into depression.
Like completely. Like nobody. And this is before social media. And then for him to come back in the way he came back and still not let you see who he is and still not let you into his life, I think that shit is amazing.
And you know what was funny, man? It was a fun fact, man. A lot of people didn't know, man. Like sometimes he would do these albums, he would do these concerts. He wouldn't show up. He'd have somebody else show up. And it'd be like Most Def would show up, and it'd be him.
And
but that's Dr. Doom with the Doom bots.
Yeah,
it's genius, bro. It's fucking genius.
When the way he came up with it, when he came back from his depression, all of that was calculated. The whole MF Doom persona was because of the depression and everything. It actually helped him cope with his brother's death. Yeah. I mean, he went from Self-Love X to MF Doom.
Yeah.
The villain.
Another.
Go fool with MF Doom. If you don't know who he is, please. As comic book supporters, go check out MF Doom and
Middle Fingers
catalog. Go back, learn his history, and you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Actually, if you don't know who he is, just go to YouTube and type in all caps. That'll tell you pretty much all you want to know. That video, everything, and then just go from there. Just look for whatever you want to
open the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Another cat that is probably one of the best lyricists that I can think of right off the top of my head, man. That's Reggie Nobles, man. You know, Redman, dog.
Hey, I shout out to Louise for bringing up Organized Confusion, Pharoah Monch, Prince Poe.
Yes,
bro.
Sir.
I swear to God, when I first listened to their first album, the song that got me the most was that damn now the song is escaping me.
Who stole
it's the one
chicken?
Huh? Not that one. It's the one that had two beats. It's the Chemical song.
Oh yeah.
God, but that fucking song. Oh my God. It's like
I'm looking it up now.
It's I can't it started off with one beat and then it switches. Yeah, yo, that song was crazy, bro. And then just get faster. Oh my God, yo, that shit was fucking amazing, man.
Had that weather report sample up in there.
Oh man, my boy brought weather report. That's how I know you know your music. When I hear weather report, that's somebody know music there, man.
You know what I'm saying?
But yeah, Redman, that Funko Rama.
Hold on, before you even move to Redman, Stress.
Oh yeah,
Stress. Stress.
The remix.
Yep, I got it in my ear right now. I got it in my ear right now.
My favorite Redman joint is oh my God, damn! Why am I not remembering these songs? My funk prognosis make my brain comatose. 100% funk.
Yeah, that's it. Funko Rama.
Yeah, you have to be Madonna to make your eyes freeze. Visines for eyes when you smoke the Thai weed. For this, you need a journalist, scientist. Keep your eye on this funk, cosmical, far from logical. I blow the spot up in any hood and blue dog. Make the bully of the block move and get new. Man, let me shut up.
Hey man, Eric Sermon showed his ass on that cut, man. And that was in the whole CD though. Oh, CD was the bomb.
Brought him up, and I don't even want to forget about him, Eric Sermon.
Oh,
EPMD.
EPMD, every album.
No, the most beautifulest thing in this world.
Squad, the whole Def Squad, all their albums, including all of Redman's albums, Keith Murray, K Solo. Come on, man. Starting at when he was 17. Come on, man. 17 years old.
Hey, this cover right here is still happening to this day.
You need that on a shirt.
Rampage. That's it. Rampage.
Yeah. Hey man, the dopest video, man, no for real out of them cats, man, was So What You Saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, and then when DJ Scratch at the end start cutting, oh my God.
Hey, that's
that, man, about 50 11 times, bro, for real, man.
I can't wait. I can't wait to get it on.
We did talk
man.
about Tribe earlier.
Oh man,
But-
we did a whole extensive try. We didn't talk about De La though.
Yeah, we didn't
Yeah.
go in deep into De La because
Underrated group.
De La Soul is one of my favorite albums, but Stakes is High is another one.
Thank you, Sean.
De La
Thanks.
has so many layers. They have so
Yeah.
much layers to every one of their albums. It's kind of hard to break it down because like each one of their albums is so dense. They're all
Yeah.
so dense. You know
When
what I
you
mean?
when you talk about groups like De La Soul and Tribe Called Quest, these are groups that started in one era and
Yeah.
still wrote ahead and was able to go through multiple eras and not lose a step. That's what makes them so unique. That's what makes them so good is that they were able to adapt to every single era of hip hop, and still sound good.
EPMD is the Run DMC the second
Yeah.
part of hip hop. That was the second part. That if they would have stayed together, they would Run DMC.
Now you
Yeah,
talk
because
about
I felt like when they first broke up, it ruined some of their momentum when they got back together.
It did.
Yeah.
Because they weren't cool. You could tell it
Yeah.
was for the red. They weren't cool whatsoever. They still not.
Yeah.
I mean, you can tell. It's like Pete Rock and CL Smooth. Yeah, they'll do an album, but are they going to tour?
yeah, highly doubt it.
You know what I mean? So it's like I don't want to even go through that.
Now you
Because my boy Asia is about him and DJ Scratch are putting out an album pretty soon. They're about to put out they got an album about to drop.
hey now y'all now for all the folks that's in the chat, you want to hear something real crazy? You won't believe this, but Black Eyed Peas actually put out a decent album. Before they went, a lot of folks don't even know about the first album that
The
Black Eyed
Act Band plan.
Yeah, that was yep.
Signed to Easy
And now and see here making me think about it. We thinking about the groups like this. We hadn't even brought up the Far Side. At least I hadn't not since we
No, we haven't.
A little bit.
yeah.
A little bit.
Far Side was another one, man, that went through multiple eras. And then when JD touched when JD touched
They
him,
got a hold of him early.
yeah, when JD touched him, I was like, oh. With everybody going backwards in the video, you was like,
I'm gonna bring this up right here, right now. The most consistent MC that's been in 4 decades. 4 decades. Put it on me.
Master Ace.
Take a look
See no
around, baby.
wrong.
The
Hey,
man's
man.
still going strong, and he's still putting out consistent work.
Me
Master
and the Biz.
Ace.
The INC ride.
INC.
See now Al. See, okay. Now, Master Ace Incorporated to me is a different thing, but it's all the same. But to me, he reinvented himself, and I wish they would have stuck around because, man, Lord Digger is one of I love.
Oh
him.
man, I posted Saturday Night Live last year.
Yo.
Lord Digger's in the house.
You guys remember when Game Records was out?
Yeah.
And that was when they were putting out those 12 inches, and it was a fine girl on the cover in a bikini.
Mhm.
Normally it'd be like a porno star or something. And then on the back, it would be the album. It would be the artist.
Yeah. Yep.
And Lord Digger put out that one with the Price is Right song.
Yeah, I remember that.
Flow is tight. Man.
Hey, man, I'm finna bring up some names, man. I just want to see what kind of reaction that y'all get, man. Diamond D.
DITC.
Who's that?
Sally. Come on, man.
Huh?
I fucked with Diamond D. I fucked with OC. Big
Yo.
L, you had Soul and AG, Fat Pockets. I like my pockets fat, not flat. Yo.
You know what I'm saying? Yo.
Hey,
All right.
John, what?
So how about? Go ahead, Big Reemo. I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say the pocket's fat, not flat. So Showbiz and AG, DITC, man, near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
Like,
Low finesse.
Those dudes were Tribe Called Quest from the streets. Because all of them could have been big, but they were too deep in the streets. They wouldn't leave the streets alone. You know what I'm saying? Like Showbiz, somebody was telling me the show. I was watching an interview with Said G. I think it was on DJ Vlad or something. He was saying that Showbiz was supposed to be in Ultramagnetics as the DJ, he couldn't get out of the streets, so he went and got Mo Love and TR Love. You know what I'm saying? So could you imagine Ultramagnetic MCs with Kool Keith, Said G, and
Showbiz? Woo.
My God.
But hey, Showbiz, he turned it around. He got with DITC. Show and AG was one of my favorite groups, and I can't forget DITC started Fat Joe's career. Let's just start.
Diamond D.
Yeah, Sean, you read my mind. I was sitting over here thinking about Fat Joe. I was just sitting there thinking about Fat Joe.
Diamond D, Showbiz and AG, Lord Finesse,
man,
Lord Finesse, man.
One Rodney and Joe Cooley associated with them too.
No, Rodney and Joe Cooley is from Compton.
Oh dang!
OC, like OC was one of my.
So OC, not to cut you off, but OC is DITC and he's in Native Tongues.
Hey, what about the boot camp clique, man?
Oh, Buckshot and 5 Feet Deep.
Helter Skelter,
Evil
man.
D, Helter Skelter, OGC.
It went down like this.
Brokest rapper alive. Well, rest in peace to Sean Price.
Yo, my wife gonna hate me tonight because I'm about to be up all night blasting hip hop.
She gonna put you.
You're like, if you don't turn that shit up.
Hey, man.
But back to the DITC. One of the most underrated producers to come out of that group was Buck Wild.
Yep.
Buck Wild.
Yep.
Like, he gets unnoticed in the 90s, but he put out a lot of, like, that Word Life album is just beautiful to listen to, man. The samples that he used on that album, amazing. I mean, everybody used that Ken Burke song, Rise to the Top, but I just love Born to Live off of World Life. That's just one of my favorites.
He's not in Native Tongues. He's with Organized Confusion, OC.
Yeah, he started with Fudge.
He's in both crews. You know what I'm saying?
Fudge.
But what I was gonna say is Buck Wild did an album with this dude. He's a rapper now named Pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And that album is man.
Hey man, what about Funk the Buddhist, man?
I ain't heard that name in a long time.
Talking about Buck Wild.
You talking about Funk Dubious?
That's how I know I'm old, dog.
Yeah, because he produced the remix to that song they did.
Yeah, well, I said when you said that, I was like, yep, that's what he said, Buck Wild.
Yeah, Beat Nuts did.
Group on, man.
Man.
Born on the Ghetto, it's hard to survive. That damn superstar, man. That's my favorite joint.
You know what's funny, Al, is when I was playing. Sean brought this up last week, man. When you cut on Grand Theft Auto 4 and you hear that, and you like, man, and because back then you already knew the song, but then when you hear it in the game, you like, wow, I heard this in a minute, man.
Yeah, it put a lot of new people onto that song.
Yeah, that beat,
the
man.
realness.
Yeah,
and premium,
man.
Hey, I learned how to juggle with that song one day. That's how I learned how to juggle on 2 turntables. With One Day by J. Rue.
Okay.
J. Rue damage it, man.
My favorite is Heads Up.
That's how I learned.
Yeah, because Primo, he produced J. Rue.
Yeah, both albums.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, did he do both albums?
He did both albums.
He did both. Yeah, he did.
He didn't do the second Group Home album, but he did both J. Rue's first 2 albums.
The second Group Home album was Aguilar. Adolph did that.
Oh, that's Lord, you brought up Aguilar?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He follows me on Instagram. We be chopping it sometimes.
I got another group for y'all, man. Which kind of put me in mind of what y'all said about the last group we talked about, but Brand Nubian.
Oh, man. I'm not a fan of what's his name sometimes with what he's saying recently. Jamar.
Lord Jamar, yeah.
But Grand Poobah was on point.
I used to dress like Grand Poobah when I
was and the thing about it is when he left the group, they still came correct with that next album, In God We Trust.
In God We Trust. And what was the one, Foundation, when he came back?
Yeah. And people sleep on Everything Is Everything. I know it's not. That was the third. That was the third album.
Yeah, it was still just them too. Yeah.
Yeah, I still loved that album. You know, it was a lot darker than the previous two, but I still enjoyed it, man.
Even the album breaking down the front end, he was breaking it down on the album cover. That shit was hard.
Hey, Sean, what about Reggie Reg, man?
Reggie Reg?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh man, y'all. Hey man, y'all got to go back and let me see what that cut is, man. I was playing in my head. Prisoners of the Past, man. It's like underground stuff, man. But see, that's what I'm talking about. When you talk about these guys, all these guys went under the radar. I don't think people understand how hard it was to make it in hip hop back in from 90 all the way up to probably about 97, we say 97, 98.
Yeah, that was the golden age.
That's like trying to break into the 95 Bulls.
But you can still go back now, like you just said. There's people that were so far under the radar, it's new today.
Yeah, I had to send that to you, Sean. I'll send it to you when we get off the air. To check that out, man. You probably
I have a bunch of deep underground. Like if y'all be on YouTube search for music, I tend to go to the pages that have nothing but the record showing, you know.
Yeah.
Because I know that's deep underground. If you see the record, just the record, and you see it like a name that you don't not recognize, and you click on it and like, yo, this is sound dope. Download.
Or you click on the video with the subway train. You know you winning when you see that. You're like, oh.
Like when you posted Criminal Scientific, like I got his album. Like that album never came out.
That's how I found about Peanut Butter. Yeah, that's how I found out about Peanut Butter. It was on just happened to be on somebody's mix CD or whatever. And I was like, oh man, you know.
I got another one for y'all. Let me just say this for brand new. Sadat X was my favorite out of the three, man. I just like
Sadat X.
Yeah, he had a unique style. I like the Sadat X style.
Yeah.
This stuff is still hot.
But Smooth the Hustler and Trigger the Gambler.
Man.
Yeah, I remember Smooth the Hustler, man.
Yeah. Smooth the Hustler was that dude, man.
Dude, I'm telling you, bro. Hip hop, man. I don't think even with if hip hop comes back to a third the way it was, man, I don't think it can ever truly encapsulate what it used to be, man. I don't think it can.
If I could play Broken Language right now, I mean, yeah, man. I when I lived in New Jersey, man, my cousin's boyfriend lived in the same neighborhood.
And Lewis brought it up too. Broken Language.
Broken Language, man.
Dude,
that's just DR period, just dun 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 dun.
Hey man, what about Black Moon?
Somebody rap over that, man. Come on.
We mentioned them before.
Yeah, but we didn't mention Black Moon.
Black Moon is Buckshot Shorty.
Buckshot, yeah.
EVD and 5 Foot. That the boot camp clip. Bro, I was so disappointed in that boot camp album when it first came out, when they decided not use the beat miners and went with live production. I was like, what the fuck, man? Beat miners is what made that group so unique.
That was around Tupac too much.
Yeah, you know what too, man? Is you bring that up. That was another factor with Outkast. You know, I get into a lot of arguments with folks with these later Outkast albums because they're like, oh man, you know, these world class albums, and I'm like, no. They don't sound anything like when they were with Organized Noise. Organized Noise was a different type sound than what you hear now. And I think that's what kind of hurt Outkast coming down the stretch. Because if you listen to like the last couple of albums they did, they kind of almost sound the same. Whereas those first three albums sounded completely different.
Yeah, I agree with it. Atlantean, AT
Aliens.
Yeah, AT Aliens was dope. That was my favorite of the first three albums.
That's my favorite.
That's mine too. You know, that's it. AT Aliens, man.
Aside from Aquemini, my song with Raekwon, Skew It on the Barbie.
I did love the song they did with Slick Rick, you know, the art of the storyteller.
Mine was Spody Odie Dopalicious.
Now that was dope too, Meet Remo. But I'll tell you, man, that doggone verse that Dre's the common denominator, the nigga numerator. Never know who the hate the niggas cater to your eco. I'm sorry, like a Atari just becoming to Calico. Fish in Puerto Rico, been on the street like Chico. The bar G Lodge and got a Latin garage. Man, what?
You know who? Hey, you know who we didn't bring up yet? Who passed away too?
Oh my God! Hold up.
Baby.
Oh man, hey bro.
Hey man, that's the
Hey.
status quo right there though. But the capital punishment though. Man,
Dream Shadow.
Hey man, and then my boy Noah said he stabbed me. He in classroom stabbing him with a number 2 pencil on that album, dog.
bro, I'm telling you, that capital punishment. That's what I'm saying. Hip hop will never be the way it was during that time frame, man. I'm sorry, man.
Unfortunately.
And he came out in 98. He
Yep.
came out with 97, 98.
But let me ask y'all.
And it was so cold that as good as he was, he still couldn't really break
Yeah.
out.
I'm telling you, man, it was like at that time, dude, you had to like break your back to get up there. That's like when I tell folk about Jay-Z. You know, me and Sean, I talked about this with Sean. I said, you know, and I said this to Al plenty of time. Jay-Z, if Notorious Big and these guys was still around, there would not be no Jay-Z.
No.
He would be around, but he would be on the level he's on. Yeah.
Nobody was checking for Jay-Z his first 2-3 albums, man.
Hell, he did a song called Hawaiian Sofa with a damn Hawaiian shirt on, man.
Hey.
I mean, he switched his style up. That man was on some old joke shit, man.
Hey,
he wasn't
hey,
trying
man.
to be serious.
Jay-Z. Hey, y'all gonna like this one. Y'all like this. Jay-Z is what Triple H was to when Stone Cold and The Rock both was out at the same time.
Yeah.
Because those were the two guys that were the superstars, and Triple H benefited off of those two.
You find somebody to argue that point with me, because I know this, because like y'all said, back then it was too much world class artists, man. You know, Cameron said, you remember Cameron came out, he couldn't crack. Cameron tried to get commercial, he couldn't knock them out the way. House of Horse and Carriage, he wasn't cutting it. Everybody was trying to
Jay-Z had to compete with this guy.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? DMX was on top of the world back then.
I'm gonna tell you something though. That doggone Money Cash Hole with DMX and DMX and my dog Spike. My nigga, ride off. Boy, all he had to say was DMX and my dog Spike. That's all he had.
That's all he had to say.
That dude, man, DMX, man. But you know, DMX, man, cocaine's a hell of a drug. If it had not been for them drugs, man, I think DMX would have outshone Jay-Z at that time. Straight up.
Rough Riders was on top of the world from 98 to 99. On top of the world, dog. They were like up here.
Bro, you don't know how many times I saw brothers wearing the Rough Rider shirts, the Rough Rider jackets. Rough Riders was huge in the late 90s, early 2000s.
That was Go ahead, Remo.
They did. They ran it. Like, I mean, you can't argue the fact. I mean, as much as we say, and we could be purists and all that, but Cash Money, Rough Riders, what do you call it? Master P, No Limit. They ran it by saturating the market with,
yes, they did,
with a lot of variety. And then they would put their top shelf artists out there. You know what I mean? But see, that's the thing, though. Too much of anything is bad. You know what I mean? So I still think that like DMX, like you didn't hear about, like you wouldn't have heard of DMX if Tupac was out.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't have listened to Jay-Z or Big Pun if Biggie was still out. Because they filled the void. He was a big dude that could rap. He filled that Biggie void. DMX growled and was huffy and had
that third persona,
like Tupac.
Mm-hmm.
So you associated in your mind with it, and it filled the void for you, and that's how they won.
Yeah, I remember.
Hey, we had a whole Cash Money discussion, bro.
Hey man, hey, everybody did that.
That's Greg Nice right there.
Hey, I hit it. How you do it? How you do it? Hey man.
And I'm gonna say this about Master P and No Limit. I remember when Make 'Em Say came out, and I was like,
garbage.
What the fuck is this shit? Man?
It's the ice man.
He said, I was like,
I couldn't stand Beats by the Pound production, man. I'm sorry. Like I just,
you know what? Even though that shit drove me up the wall when I was in high school, I could deal with it now because you compare, this shit now, you can listen to it.
Yeah.
But Master P, I told my best friend this a couple weeks ago. I told him, I said, Master P is one of the hardest working men and I'm gonna give him all the props because that man built his shit from the ground up. I mean, and now,
the store in Richmond,
yeah,
California. I remember.
He's a successful businessman. This dude got a bag. Them chips good as hell. I had bag of.
Hey, have you had the ramen noodles?
No, I hadn't had the noodles yet, dog. They said the noodles good. I heard they good.
Them shits look salty as shit, man. Like,
I heard they good.
They ain't got all that sodium.
Man, you got about 3,000 grams of salt in it, man. Then you taste that juice. You drink that juice and your ass is stroking out, man. Like,
but what Master P and them guys did, man, was they figured out how to break the code. And what they did was they started doing their own stuff. They, putting out their own stuff on their own label.
Stuff, right?
And, yep. And that was the trick. And that's what before Prince passed away, he was preaching about that. Y'all need to keep your masters, keep your stuff put up,
Yeah, they said those deals that like Cash Money and Master P, you'll never get that deal again. They'll never offer that deal.
Yeah.
A 50-50 split, you'll never get that.
And go ahead. I'm sorry, Remo. Go ahead, bro.
No, that's it.
Well, and it's crazy you mentioned that just a second ago because De La Soul, I don't know if they've ever like resolved it, but I follow Trugoy and I follow all three. Well, what's his name? Trugoy's not. I don't think he on IG, but Maceo and Pastanos, I follow them on Instagram, and for a minute it was a big scuffle with them and Tommy Boy because for some reason Tommy Boy wouldn't allow any of their music to be streamed on streaming sites and stuff. And it's crazy because these cats went through all this. Now, mind you, De La was another group that got hit real hard with lawsuits regarding sampling and stuff.
So that's why they won't let it, because they're not going to get sued. They will.
But see, from what I understand, they cleared it up. Everything was cleared up.
But they don't want to give them the money up.
That's crazy, man. But hey, quick question for y'all, man. I want to go around the table and ask y'all this one thing. And I know there's so many different hip hop records out there, so many different CDs or whatever. If you had to pick one CD, man, what you doing, man? You in like the comfort zone or something?
No, I just saw some news, man.
Okay.
I just saw.
You about
hey,
Jonas or something, ain't you?
Hey. I just want to say this right quick, man. The Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she passed away.
Oh no.
Yeah, I just
bad.
Yeah. Get your ass up and go vote.
Play.
Hey, 90, we did talk about some Miami.
Jam Pony. But Jam Pony used to do tapes, that's right. But if go around the room, and I know it's a ton of stuff out there, but name one classic hip hop album that you would recommend to a person that has never heard that particular artist. I'm gonna start with you, Remo. Go ahead, Remo.
Oh, okay.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
One classic hip hop album that you would actually recommend to a person that has not heard, that you don't think that's either heard that artist or you're just trying to introduce them to that artist.
Ain't no Trick Daddy in him, 90.
That's tough.
Take that I'm a thug. You can take that I'm a thug shit out of here.
No.
That shit, man. I hated that song.
Cool.
What was that, Remo?
If I want to do that without, because I know if I pick one, I'm gonna think of something else. But I'll go with The Main Ingredient by Pete Rock and CL Smooth.
Okay.
Because that gives you production and lyricism and kind of the whole gambit of what probably hip hop is. You know what I mean? And it's digestible for, I could let my mom listen to it. You know what I mean? Like my mom could listen to it and be like, oh, okay. And it wouldn't be, too rough on the ears,
Gotcha. Cool. Matt.
I'm sure I could think of something else, but off the top, that's probably one that I would.
Main Ingredient, Pete Rock's Hill. That's a good choice, though. What about you, Matt?
Supreme Clientele.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Ghostface.
That's a good choice right there.
Okay. That's a
good one right there.
That album. If it wasn't that, I'd probably say Old Dirty Bastard, Church of 36 Chamber.
Ooh, man, hold up. The One Man Army, A-Son. I never been to.
That Brooklyn Zoo, man.
Bro, that's my dude, man. Rest in peace, ODB, man.
Oh,
That
man.
he is my favorite. Man, that hurt me so bad when he died, man, because he's my favorite out of the whole clan, man. Like that dude. I know Return to 36 Chambers frontwards and backwards, man. That darn Snakes, man, when he said, niggas running through the trees like a salamander, biting like a piranha, but I'm biting it back like a Black Panther. The style of man for the fuck my name, who will be? Fuck the game. It's all about the money. And then he go, it's time to get high with the meth. Then I turn to the killer beast. When it comes 12 o'clock, turn into the demon beast. That shit did not make a damn lick of sense, man. But it sounds
no, but you know, Supreme Clientele, man. I remember hearing that album because see, at that point, you know, a lot of folks don't know, man. Back at that point, man, it was kind of like those Wu-Tang. You know, everybody was coming out with those Wu-Tang solo albums. You remember Killer Army and all that stuff. You know, which is trash. That Killer Army album to this day I still consider trash. And so, you know, Sons of Man came out, and I think right after that, that's when Supreme Clientele dropped. And when Supreme Clientele dropped, man, what really did it, man, was, you know, already for y'all. Hey, that's another album for all y'all comic book fans that want to get into hip hop. Go get Supreme Clientele. Because as soon as it come on, you got Iron Man coming on.
All the Iron Man.
My man said, "This is Professor Fanko, and you must stop Stark's Mighty Guardian, Iron Man." And then you just hear Ghostface just drop in, man, and it's from every track. One to the end of the album was top of the line. Yeah. The production work was top of the line, and personally, I think that set the gold standard for like Ghostface, man. After that, it's like he just completely said, "You know what? Since y'all can't get it right, I'll do it. I'll do it." Because see, I think he was coming out the back of Takao. That Takao 2 album was trash.
Oh, that I ain't like that album.
It was main doo-doo stain, and then you had
talking about
Takao 2.
Judgment Day or something like that.
Yeah, Judgment Day was main doo-doo stain. And then you had Raekwon. I didn't too much care for Raekwon's second album. I know some folks.
It was all right, but
okay, you know.
That was a Mobile Larry.
Yeah, Mobile Larry.
And Inspector Deck is a case of he sounds good on everybody else's album, but then when you get on his own, then you guys not even gonna get him. You know that paper. Y'all remember on that You God video? He had that cardboard cutout of that Woo, of that Woo, and you know. And so at that point when Supreme Clientele dropped off,
Ghostface is the most consistent solo artist out of the Woo.
Yeah. To this day, he is the most consistent person in the group.
All of his albums are classics.
Yeah. He comes in, he attacks the mic. Nope. All of them are good. Every last one of them. But Supreme Clientele
are questionable.
Yeah.
Man, I was thinking
the non-RZA ones, the non-RZA albums.
Yeah.
Man, there's so many albums to choose from when it comes to this question.
Yeah, exactly.
And I agree with Lewis, man. Capadonna can't drop a solo album to save his life because Winter Wars is his best effort.
Man, that beat, man, that's to this day, man. That beat, man.
It's like one time when I watched Don't Be a Menace, I gotta watch it all the way through, even through the credits, just to hear Winter Wars.
Just to hear
Yeah.
Fast forward just to get to that point.
But if you had to narrow it down, though, Sean, what would you?
Yeah, man, it's tough, man. But you know, I'm gonna go with these three guys on the cover of this. I've showed it earlier. Black on Both Sides is a classic by Mos Def. And Pharaoh Monster's first album is fucking high. You know, if it wasn't for that Godzilla sample, that album could have gained some more transit.
Sean, you want to hear something? You want to hear something funny, man? Let me tell you. You said Mos Def, man, and you know it's gonna be funny, man. You know, I listened to that album from the first time. I went backwards when I heard "Made of December," and I just heard the beat, just the beat alone. I was just like, "Hey, man!" And then when I heard Umi Says, that was it. I was done. That was it. That was it, man. That was it. I was in there like Flynn, man. Black on Both Sides, not Black on Both Sides, but Mos Def solo joint, man.
Yeah, Black on Both Sides.
Black on Both Sides, yeah. Because I get to the one with Black Star.
And then Black Star, that Black Star album too, another one.
What was the album with?
What about Reflection Eternal?
Black Star is with Talib and Mos Def, and then Reflection Tunnel is Talib and High Tech.
High Tech, yeah.
So what was the album with Mos Def and his little brother DCQ?
Could have been his second.
Crosstown Beef. What was that group called?
I can't remember.
Green.
Because I know Mos Def, he appeared on the Bush Baby second album.
Yeah, he was on the Love Song.
Yeah, he was on the Love Song, and there was another song that he was on as well. Also, I would recommend this.
Oh, absolutely.
We ain't even touched on Rawkus and their impact in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Lyricist
Lounge, this is wrapped up because I got it digitally and I was able to get this for cheap. I was shocked that I saw that price. So I was like, fuck, I'm buying it and I'm not opening it. But yeah, I see Reemo. Yes.
Yeah, man. That's how you know you was in that. When you got the Lyricist Lounge album, man, Volume 1, you in there, bro.
Cassette, baby. When you got it on cassette, that's when you know you're a fan.
Vintage.
Hey, man.
Okay.
You know, he did that album with Madlib, man. And that cut, the one we had the Indian track on there, I can't think of the name of it now. Auditorium. That's it, Auditorium.
90, you busy? You want to jump on now?
Hey, while you doing that, show, I'm gonna go ahead and give my pick. I was actually gonna do one song, but since you like two, I'm gonna go ahead and do at least two. My first.
My bad.
Say what, Reemo?
Medina Green is Mos Def and his brother.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right.
But one of my favorite hip hop albums of all time, man, in my top 10 that I would actually recommend to somebody is the May 4th Movement. Diggable Planets. Their second.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
Bruh,
that second album don't get a lot of love compared to the first, man. But that Blowout Combs is freaking amazing.
That's right. Blowout Comb. May 4th Movement is the first song on the album. Damn. But Blowout Comb. Damn. Thank you, Sean. I'm fucking it up, man. But,
that's all right, man.
But Blowout Comb, man. Blowout Comb, man. That album is so
it's a shame that album didn't get no traction and it ended the group. It's like it's the same thing with Arrested Development. They put out that classic first album that people talk about, and the second album was good, but it didn't get that love that the first album got, and it just ended the group.
But that was when you were talking about how you were saying that Camp Lo's album was one of your favorite albums, your favorite groups.
Mm-hmm.
Swing is my favorite song on that album. And that has Doodlebug from Diggable Planet.
Yep.
And that's probably to me, that's one of the hardest songs, man. Like with both of them, and Doodlebug, man.
I think the hardest song on that CD is the first song, man. The way it come on, Crystal Carrington.
Oh, Crystal Carrington's hard.
Boy, I got Crystal Carrington, Ice Rock Gritty, Carlito and T Flashes, huh?
You gonna make me go bust that album out, dog.
Man, that damn thing, bro. It's a lot, man. I'm telling you, it's so many different underrated groups, man, from back in the day.
Buy the hip hop variant cover too.
Oh, man. I got hip hop variant of that one of that Camp Lo, man.
I already know that there's gonna be another show on this, and we probably gonna get some other people to join in because this is just a complete diverse topic. This still acts we didn't even scratch the surface on.
A lot of them.
Yeah, we didn't even touch. Talking about South Rap, we didn't talk about 3 6 Mafia.
We didn't talk about 3 6. We didn't talk about Ghetto Boys and Scarface.
Yeah. Did we talk about Run DMC? Did we even mention Run DMC?
That was at the beginning of the show.
Okay, yeah. All right. I came in late.
That was my introduction to hip hop. Was Run DMC.
Hell, you want to go to UTFO and damn Dana Dane.
Audio 2.
What fan is he?
Yep.
The D&D All Star.
What team are you? What? Hold on, my wife's friend is Laker hating right quick. Hold on. What is his team? Oh, you a Warriors fan? I mean, come on, man. They had Sleepy Floyd. Hey,
Sean. I'm not sure.
When they had Sleepy Floyd and Wall Be Free, then.
Hey, Reemo.
He been a fan for what, the last 4 years, 5 years?
Hey, Reemo. Wow. Hey, Doc. Look behind me. Look behind me. Hey, look behind me. Look on that wall back there. Reemo. What you see? What did it say?
5-year fans. 5-year fans.
Hey, Reemo, what it look on my shoulder? What they say on my shoulder, Doc? What they say on my shoulder?
That's the Lake Show right there.
Lake Show.
Right?
Lake Show. Hey, we don't have. Hey, tell them we don't have to advertise. We don't have to advertise. Hey, we don't have to advertise for winning, baby.
Nigga, we just got those in the 2000s. We just got one in 07.
Hey, stop arguing with these folk, Reemo. You ain't got to. Hey,
you right.
You ain't got to argue, man. Hey, one of my best friends is a Celtic fan. I just say, hey, man, there's nothing to talk about.
Sometimes, you know what I'm saying.
Hey, anybody that's a Golden State fan, if you were not a Golden State fan when Chris Mullin played for him, I don't even want to talk to you. There's nothing to discuss.
When they have Stevie Floyd and World Be Free, I can fucks with you because you know I get it. But if you just was a fan when they got Steph Curry like 2 years after you became a fan, come on, man.
That's like the Miami Heat stands. Like, bro, if you were a Miami Heat fan before Harold Miner was down there, no need of talking.
Yeah,
and Glenn Rice.
If you didn't come in with it, oh yes,
Cool G rap, man.
I had to bring it back after the basketball talk kind of wrecked it.
Hey, that's all good. Only reason Sean did that because we don't want to talk about the New York Knicks. That's all that is.
Yeah, exactly. Y'all talking about Lakers and shit. I'm sitting here as a suffering Knicks fan. Fuck that shit. Fuck basketball. All right, man. We are joined by YouTube.
No, I know y'all ain't talking about my Heat. I know y'all ain't talking about my Heat.
Hey, I was say he's a real Heat fan. I can already look at him and tell he was a Heat fan back when they had Harold Miner and them. You can spot a real Miami Heat fan.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I was born and raised in Miami. You best believe, bro. I can go pull out my Michael Beasley jersey when we drafted that man 2 overall, just so you know. But hey, I'm gonna let you know this right now, Matt. Oh, sorry, as I'm making noise, but. I may not be a Laker fan, but I'm a big fan of my boy Kobe. So
that's it, man. The Mamba.
You already know. This is one of the only other jerseys that I own that ain't Miami. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Hey, man.
Not the same thing, Matt. We're on the same page, bro. Come on, let's go, Gordon. Let's go, Gordon. That's my guy. That's my guy.
That's
Aubameyang. Let's go.
That's it, Aubameyang, man. Who? Obama what?
Obama who? Obama blood clot Yang. Let's go.
My brother. My brother. Yes,
oh man.
LeBron's a high scorer Magic Johnson. Let's get out of here, bro.
Hey, but you know what, man? You know what, Sean? A lot of folks sleep on that Miami Heat, New York Knicks, man. That rivalry there, man, was where it was at.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you this right now, Sean. Still one of the greatest images in my childhood is Jeff Van Gundy wrapped around Alonzo Mourning's legs. Come on, bro. Tell me that wasn't classic.
It's classic. I can't. Hey, I love that, man. I mean, Jeff Van Gundy wasn't even thinking. Yeah, he was going out there charging for his boys, man. You gotta respect that, man. You gotta respect that.
Hey,
what's this?
Hey, Shabba Ray,
Saba,
Mr. Lover, man.
Shaba.
Hey, what about Mad Lion, man?
KRS-One.
Yeah.
Oh, you talking about take it easy, man?
Did y'all mention any Big Daddy Kane?
Oh no.
No,
I did. Hey man, there's a whole bunch of fucking rappers we gotta talk about, man.
There's a ton of them, bro.
I remember seeing somebody in the chat mentioned Tragedy Gaddafi.
Yeah, it was my brother. His
okay.
Big Daddy. I got the greatest hits.
Oh, come on, bro.
I feel
it's a Big Daddy thing. Come on, man. It's a classic. Come on.
Jace brought up Tragedy Gaddafi. He been around since he was the early member of a Juice Crew.
Yeah.
He had that song called The Rebel.
Yep.
President.
Yep, the president song and all that. I was like,
arrest the president, arrest the president, arrest the president.
And then I remember his second album where he did the song with Lost Pro and Havoc.
Yeah.
The funk.
And then he did, My Dukes.
Yeah, My Dukes too. That was another one. And then he also was a part of Capone and Noriega's first album when Capone was locked up. He was on the majority of that album.
He's the one that jerked them in their first deal.
Yeah.
He took their money.
I mean, you got to make money somehow, right?
Him and Combat Jack.
Bro, there's so many guys we didn't even bring up. I didn't even touch on the Boston rap scene with LOG and Acrobatic and all them. The
You don't want
Bulldogs.
to do nothing about Boston, bro.
Hey, I know
nothing from Boston, bro.
I love my hip hop, and LOG was like the first name, and of course Guru from Boston. I can't forget that.
No, you know, I gotta come on, bro. We're in the middle of the East Conference Championship in Boston. I respect that, but come on, man. I don't want to hear nothing from Boston. All right, let's go 2-0 Heat, baby.
So
man, y'all gonna win the series, man. So
Miami rap, I used to fool with Magic Mike, DJ Magic Mike for sure. 2 Live Crew.
Yeah, Uncle Luke, bro. I mean.
Hold up,
the dog. About what Uncle Luke was to the hip hop community at that time, and like where we are at this time. I mean, think about the way rap albums are today. They wouldn't be able to speak the way they can, so to speak, without Luke going to the courts and fighting free speech, so to speak, man. So Miami's gotta be represented on this.
I used to have to go and buy their tapes and ask the guy at the counter to get it out of the glass.
Poison Clan. You see that?
Yeah, I see that.
Reemo said the dogs with Disco Rick. Now, Disco Rick is known for the infamous song "Your Mama's on Crack Rock."
Your Mama's on Crack Rock. Tony MF Rock.
Not my mama. That's how the song goes. Your mama's on crack rock. Not my mama. I'm like, okay. I understand that.
Poison Clan was my shit.
Dance All Night, wasn't it? That was one of the songs.
Yeah. Dance All Night. Dance.
The Miami bass movement, it served its purpose, man, because it actually gave people party music. Like, you can't really dance to So Many Tears by Tupac. I'm
gonna say this. You don't have Big Al makes a great point there, but to his point, you ain't got booty dancing unless you get that house bass music, baby. Let's go. Like, Uncle Luke just making it real nasty, getting on the girls to shake it and twerk it.
You can't go to King Diamonds and listen to So Many Tears.
I remember when Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg went in on Luke.
Yeah, well, that's when what you call it when NWA, when they were feud with NWA.
Yeah.
No, because they said
oh no, that was Luke had cows and counters.
Luke's bending over.
That's fucking with Dre days, man.
Thought it was a mark because I used to hang with Easy, Animosity, Made You Speak, which you spoke, but yo, Dre, break them off something low. If it ain't another brother that I got to get with, gap teeth in your mouth, so my dick's got to fit. I'm like, whoa. My sack on your tonsils while you're whack case
from Ultramagnetic, and he did the song.
MOP.
Nah, he did the song "Fuck Compton."
Tim Dog. Tim fucking Dog.
He's dead.
That's a name I ain't heard in a long time. That boy.
He gone.
Yeah.
Part of the East Coast, West Coast shit.
Yeah, he was the one that said "fuck Compton" and all that shit, man.
Before it, and that was even like a big thing. Think about that. That's crazy too.
That shit off, and it went.
Man, he even attacked Michelle late, man. He did her dirty, man.
Yeah, he did.
All of it.
Hey, Sean, we talk about producers, man, and this one went past me, man. It's Jay-Z, Jazzy Jeff, man.
Oh, bro, man, for sure.
Hey, man. For folks who don't, everybody know him from Will Smith and all that, man. But Jazzy Jeff is a top-notch producer.
And not just producer, DJ. Like,
DJ, yeah.
He did Transformer scratch.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about the amount of money that him and Will Smith made at that time, like doing that and to kind of, catapult themselves to go get the show and everything, definitely, man, like ahead of its time in a sense as well. If you look at hip hop and like, trying to grab deals, for instance, if it's being a show or for instance, Travis Scott getting a McDonald's deal and all that was a way ahead of its time. And he even got a Jordan deal, I think, during that time too.
Yeah, for sure.
So
every episode he had on a new pair of Jordans.
But they could have been his. I think eventually over time he got that deal, but I think he was just rocking the Jordans.
You know if they bringing up DJ Scratch?
Yeah, DJ Scratch is another one. Yep, that's another one. Yep.
Dante, my friend, Planet Asia and DJ Scratch are about to put out a new album. Probably in about 2 more weeks it'll drop. They got a whole album.
Man, I remember when Planet Asia first busted on the scene with Rascal.
Yeah,
Man.
Sean, I don't want to like veer off too much, but as most people know, hip hop, collecting shoes. Like, are you guys shoe collectors by any chance? Or
no, I ain't no damn shoe collector. You know why? Because I got in too many goddamn fights with all these idiots out there worried about their Jordans. Like, my Jordans and stuff like that.
You never tell them your shoe size. You never let them know, bro.
I never got into it because my mama raised me cheap. He said, here's some $40 Payless shoes. That's it. And that's how I was raised, man. I ain't never.
Got on British Knights.
Yo, I'm with you there, Sean. My mom always bought me, we went to Just for Feet. Anything that was on sale, that was what I got. But you best believe, and I guess
we don't have our top 3 clothing.
Oh, you got a call.
Yeah, you got a call. Yeah, my boy Sean got on British Knights, man.
No.
When I was old enough to get me some Jordans or some shoes, you best believe I was doing it. Come on, man. That's part of the culture.
Not mine.
You gotta get Larry, man. You gotta get on him and Larry got to get together, man. Larry got that shoe collection.
Yeah, see, I can't do the shoes. I think
it's too expensive for me, man. That's
I got with the infrared 6s, and I think the denim foam posits.
Hey, Remo, if I'm where them shoes cost, man, them a couple of Tomb of Draculas there, man. I figured 2 or 3 of them tombs for that, man.
You lying. It's a down payment.
Hey, we gonna get low grade giant sizes for that, man.
Get a 0.5. Hell,
I mean, I'll say this: I was collecting shoes before I was collecting books because I was doing more like trades, reading, stories, and I was like heavy into shoe collecting. My wife at the time we were dating, she was like, "Yo, you need to slow down with the shoes," and then I ventured like from shoe collecting to single issue comic book collecting, and that's how I made that transition. But man, there's something about having a pair of J's, man, a fresh pair of J's. You put them on your feet. Woo!
Sell your shoes to get books?
No, I have not. I've worn every single pair of shoes. I have not been in a situation yet where I need to sell them. But
Matt, you brought up Ghostface, and I didn't even show the book. I was going through my books. I was like,
yeah, look at that, man.
That was when
hey, man, that's a hungry Rizzle back then, man. Look at that.
That's that little pop, man. You can't keep it open.
That's the issue that when Supreme Clientele came out.
The Brat. You see, look on that cover. Look at them names on that cover. The Brat.
Yep, all the names, man.
Young Bleed. It says Young Bleed.
Yep.
Yo, one of my favorite, I guess, team-ups from New York would be Ghostface and Doom, man. That Iron Doom, that Ghostface killer with some MF Doom. Woo.
Yep. Yeah, man.
Oh, man. And MF Doom is personally like my favorite hip hop artist, producer of all time because he makes the beats, he does everything, and then he's got 3 different aliases. He works with everyone. And
what's that sound in the back?
That's that microphone. The microphone wrestling against the jersey.
Oh yeah, for sure. It could be. I think he's on it. Yeah.
I thought it was a gremlin scratching at a table or something.
It was little 90 trying to get on, bro.
Let him speak. Let him speak now.
Yeah, man.
But you mentioned 90 in the chat about 36 Chambers, man. No.
Look what Nas got on. Look what he got on, Remo. Look what he got on. Look what he wearing.
You feel me? Because he was knowing.
He said, "You feel me?"
Hey, word is born, man.
But yeah, man,
Chambers, though.
36 Chambers, man. That I ain't gonna lie, man. If I had to say one, I mean, I loved hip hop up until that point, but that one album, man, it really changed my perspective on hip hop. I mean, I remember a friend of mine got it from a cousin of his from New York, and it was on a white tape, and it was before the album even dropped in stores. And he had a white Ford Escort, man. And we rolled around making. We didn't know who was who, but we knew those songs, man, like from front to back before the album actually dropped, man. And that's gonna be one of my all-time classics, man.
I'm gonna give it to you there with no trivia. Like cocaine straight from Bolivia. My hip hop rock shock the nation. Like the Emancipation Proclamation.
Oh, come on. And then for every song though, it like you can literally listen that from beginning to end. Don't have to hit skip. don't have to hit nothing. Like it just, production wise from RZA, he made sure like it's produced well, but he also gives it that grittiness, that raw New York sound that you want to hear, and then
none of them are produced well. That's the beauty of their album.
It's
well.
It's like
terrible. It's like terrible audio.
It's all beat.
Well, no, there's a science behind it, Reemo. To your point, I'm telling you, if you go back and ask RZA, like that was the sound he was trying to capture, which is that.
What I was doing. It was what he thought. It's what you think when you're producing. If you don't know any better, you don't know any better, right?
What you're doing,
you don't know any better, you don't know any better. So until you go into a real studio and know how it has to be done, if you'll notice, when he got into the big studios, then his sound changed for the better, they would say, but not for us because it doesn't sound good.
The Abbott, man.
Well, all I got to say is this.
I'm not saying you're wrong, 90. I'm just saying the off beat. He didn't know how to match his tempos. He didn't know how to pitch. He didn't know how to pitch things.
To your point, because I went to school for producing and all that type of stuff. So, for instance, it wasn't polished. Yeah. For instance, it wasn't quantized, and everything was like perfectly in sync. So, but to my point, to what you're saying, it gave it that raw grittiness, and I think
that underground feel to it.
But I think at that time he knew that's what was gonna, capture his audience, so to speak. Like, what can
If you don't know what quantizing is, you're not gonna know to turn it on.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and I get what you're saying, like that polishedness of it. Because by the time you get to Bobby Digital, everything is completely polished. It sounds like you're playing on a click track. That snare is on the 2 and 4 no matter what. So no, I know what you're saying, Reemo. But I also think at that time when he was creating that, I think he wanted that. And I think there's a documentary on it too. He talks about it. He goes, I wanted this.
The 4-part documentary from last year.
Yeah, I wanted this, just dirty sounding, beat, so to speak, and he found his sound. And of course, for me, like he took his sound, and to your point, once he was able to polish it, you can still hear a RZA beat. The moment a RZA beat drops, I'm like, oh, that's RZA. Like, I know that's a RZA beat, man, But I understand what you're saying, Reemo. Like, once you got to the big studios, then you got all the big toys, and you can go bigger.
You can, what I'm saying? You could run your stuff through, certain filters and different, you know what I mean? It'll clean it up. Whereas before you're like, but it sounded better because, the wattage in my house wasn't good. And I had this big old mixer plugged up. So I get this hum, and the hum is good, but it ain't going to have that hum in the studio. So, you know what I mean? Like, I love that stuff. That was the sound, like, when I was making beats, I didn't know that I had to ground certain things. You know what I mean?
For sure.
I didn't have a power conditioner, you know what I'm saying? So I would run everything in, and I didn't know that I would have to go through a mixer in order to get the proper levels, So some things, when you listen to, like, Enter the 36 Chambers, some of those samples are loud as shit.
Oh, no, for sure. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Some of them are low,
Yeah.
But the one that's right on time, though, the one that's right on time is.
Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing. Oh, bro, it comes in perfectly.
Man, it come in so hard. What, that just don't be the high compared for the boom. Bam! Oh, man! Oh, damn! Slam! I scream like Tarzan. Like,
and then when it drops, you just come on, man.
My style is awesome. I'm causing more family feud than with your Dawson. Oh,
exactly.
I mean, to me, and I guess kind of going back to what you guys said earlier, like, what would be the one classic hip hop album for you? For me, that's mine. Like, that's the one where I feel like if someone, didn't have any regulation of old school hip hop, I feel like it's that right in between of when things were still kind of old school, but we were starting to get a little gangster, so to speak, and things were starting to venture more into the 90s. But that album right there is the perfect sample of late 80s, early 90s to me, and it just that's what I always recommend.
92 to 97 is that sweet spot.
You're right. You can't argue that, right?
97, you're still gonna get Jay-Z. You're gonna get the beginning of DMX.
You're gonna get your Pac, you're gonna get your Biggie, get your Dre, Snoop. No, I feel you there. Yeah.
By the time we got to like 98 and stuff, then hip hop started becoming either the Cash Money thing or that hard street thug.
Hold on. And I'm not trying to like. And before we get to Cash Money, and we give Cash Money the respect, but y'all cannot knock the hustle that Master P and No Limit were doing at that time.
Hey, we did give them credit, 90. I
wasn't watching. I've been working, so I didn't see it. But man, they were dropping mixtapes every day, almost, or every week. Every week there was a new mixtape.
Mixtape, full blown album.
Well, technically, yeah, full blown albums, bro. They were killing it.
Because like I said, I did not like the Master P style. Like that make him say shit was like, what the fuck is this shit?
I hear you.
But to his credit, he built his empire up from the ground up, like Matt said earlier, and we respected that for sure.
Bro, and he got some good ass chips. I'm telling you, them chips good as hell, man.
When I go to the liquor store, I'm gonna find them.
Hey, they bust.
Remember these chips.
Hey, I'm gonna go straight south of you, man. They busting, doc. You gotta go get them, man. They busting.
I gotta get these chips, bro. What are they called?
It's called what? Rap chips. That's what they call it.
Rap snacks.
I'll be looking for it.
Rap snacks.
Nah, man, you just got to give credit to Master P and their hustle. And I guess for me, and I guess this is like a crazy story, but at the time, my dad was working with this guy, and we knew him as Big Money, and Big Money was huge into No Limit, and he would come and pick me and my brother up from like aftercare and just busting like 2 big 14 speakers in the truck, like just brrr, and he would always be just bumping No Limit. So like I always remember I was like probably like what you mentioned, like that 97, 98, 99, that was that time period. I was like between 7 and 10. So like it was so like impactful.
Right now, 90, you're killing me.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, Remo, but in that sense though, like that's when you really start to like discover yourself and understand the world, and like
his
so
Master P fix, because this is a detached cover, but I still got the cover at least.
But that lets you know who was running the game.
Yeah, bro. But the only point I was making is that P led the way for Cash Money and that whole blow up, and then of course Wheezy took it to a whole nother level, and that's a whole other.
I wish we got this Lil Kim back at least instead of what we got now.
I miss that Lil Kim. I'll take Lil Kim now too. She's still.
Hey, give me that. What you, man? Put up there.
Yeah, come on, man. Lil Kim now.
I take
she living life, Sean.
Nah, that ain't the Lil Kim I'm used to, man.
No, that current Lil Kim is
I'm more hard.
She look like Dr. Doom now.
Without the mask.
Without the mask.
Little Kim when she's squatting on the.
Oh yeah, I had that poster, man.
With the monkey out.
The pose that Nicki Minaj stole.
Yeah.
Oh, right? True, man. Hey, man, but if y'all gonna mention Lil Kim, y'all can't forget about my girl Trina, man. She was holding it down here, man.
You can't forget Queen Latifah.
Can't forget
Foxy Brown, for sure.
MC Light.
But see,
Roxanne Shante was brought up in the
chat. The only reason why I mentioned Trina, because Trina and Lil Kim around the same time, and I think Trina was a little more hardcore at that time. You know what I'm saying?
I like the Mia X from No Limit.
So I have a huge soft spot for Miami in my heart. So I can never talk bad about Miami, no matter what.
I love it, Remo. I love it. Let's go Heat.
Y'all talk about these hip hop female, man. What about Sean? You remember Sabi?
Sabi.
I don't know if you can see this picture.
Yeah, I'll send you a.
I see you.
That's me in the middle in 10th grade, in 9th grade. Look at my jacket.
Yeah.
What were you rocking them? That you baby?
Got them canes on. Got them canes on.
That's my Parker jacket.
You best believe that was Big Reemo watching that Uncle Luke video. He was watching that Uncle Luke video with all on the hot tub.
Yeah, he was right there when they was winning championships, man.
You know it. Hey, you want to talk about some females in the game, and it probably doesn't get enough credit as
I think she should, because she held her own in a group by herself with a whole bunch of other guys, and that's Gangsta Boo and 3-6. And I know you didn't really get into 3-6, but Gangsta Boo would, whoo, she
3-6
like
3-6 is the reason all the rappers nowadays, that's what it grasps onto.
Oh yeah,
that's the whole style that is right now. The whole cadence, Migos, all that comes from Lord Infamous.
For sure. I think that was like the start of the evolution. I think really what like kind of catapulted that, and I hate to say this because at the time I didn't really think about it, but Lil Wayne, man, being very melodical with some of his sayings, using the auto-tune, and now if you really look at
getting that from
3-6, no, you're planting those seeds. Yeah. I hear you there. They planted those seeds.
Because you got to remember, at that time they were on the East Coast label. They were on Relativity Records, so they were signed. They were label mates with Big Pun and all them. So they had they Steve Rifkin was pushing them. Man, they riding spinners and all that stuff. That song, that they were big, man. They were large.
Bro, what you know about Bin Laden, yo? That's my jam, yo. Bin Laden, come on.
Man, come on now. I didn't take all the takes, baby.
Yeah, me and Reemo get down, yo. That dirty South, bro. That's what I'm all about, baby.
I wasn't that into 3-6 compared to Goody Mob and Nappy Roots.
Okay, but a little different though. A little different.
Yeah, they were different.
It's different.
More like hardcore gang.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, I mean, you got 3-6 coming out with "Fuck the Club Up," bro.
Yeah,
like
they never really appealed to me as much.
Still, and someone's getting shot or stabbed. Like that was if someone would go pay the DJ to play that song so they can go take off on somebody.
Wasn't
you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm about to bust this dude in the head, man. Tear the club up.
But I love about like old school 3-6. It was, they had like that one just catchy hook, so to speak, but then it was just straight bars, just one after another. And there were so many members at that time too, like old school, like yo, cool, go verse. And that's just one of my favorite things about like old school 3-6.
Project Pat,
I was about to bring up him.
The Boo. You had what's his name?
Country Black.
What's his name? The dude, the one that raps with Wiz Khalifa all the time right now.
DJ Paul. You got Juicy J.
Juicy J.
Juicy J. I mean, come on, ahead of his time, bro. He still to this day kills beats and makes songs that are relevant, bro. Like,
but Country Black can't rap.
No, I'm not gonna argue that, but put him around another group, he's okay. Birdman can't rap, but Cash Money made it work. Birdman's terrible, bro. They were writing his lines. Get out of here.
The more I liked about Cash Money was Manny Fresh's beats.
Oh, bro, money, and probably as a producer, if you look, and not that Weezy didn't like have hits after Manny Fresh, but to me, his hits weren't as big as they were when he was with Manny Fresh. So Juvenile, I'm with you there.
Juvenile was definitely not the same as after Manny Fresh.
Bro, I remember when I first heard
400 Degrees. That was one of my favorite albums, bro.
I remember when I first heard the Hot song. Me being from New York, I'm used to understanding lyrics, and I hear this shit, and I'm like, "The fuck is he saying, man?"
There was so many Cash Money fans when I lived in New Jersey. Those people loved.
I always thought that it was because Jay-Z co-signed him on the remix. I'm like, the fuck you do, Jay? I'm like, I ain't like that song one bit. It's like, you went to the see how you go to the corner store, and I'm going to the see how. I'm like, the fuck are you saying, bro? That country acid was so strong with me that I didn't really jive with it. I liked his second single better, Back That Thing Up, because it was a party song, and of course. But that Hot song, I was like, nah, man, that shit wasn't
you better run, Forrest, run.
Ooh, yeah, that was a hot one, bro. I mean, you have to remember though too. I guess their market and where they came from, they were all into that, so that's why and at that time, Juvie was like the big, like he was the one that they thought was really gonna like blow up, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they like really pushed him, but. Lo and behold, that little 16-year-old that they had just doing their verses would be like the one that would be back there,
He had the longevity.
Well, yeah, and I think Birdman eventually saw that, and that's why he started to let go of some of those guys and not, started to really focus on Wayne, man.
No, he never let go of them. That's why they crashed and burned. If he had let them go earlier, they probably would have all stayed together. But like when they were on that Rough Riders Cash Money tour, he wouldn't let them associate with the other artists because he was losing them.
No, I get you were saying, but as far as when he started to like focus all of his eggs in the basket of Wayne, because I think at that time, like all those artists started to like, have their fallout and they kind of left on their own terms, so to speak, but they could see that Birdman was really starting to like, yo, I'm going with him. This is our guy. This is the future. And that's kind of where everyone started to like, create their own paths. Because then Juvie went to somewhere like Juvie went to that. I remember that. Like Juvie went to some label. I'm like, yo, that don't make no sense for you to go over there. But
he left by himself, and then I think Turk went to prison. Him and BG went to prison, so they were just gone. And then it was just Wayne and Juvie. And then I was a fan of the Big Timers, and then they, Manny Fresh was like, you ain't paying me, and he left. So I mean, it was bad.
Boots with the pimped out Gucci suits.
Exactly.
Yeah, bro. I'm all about it, bro. Those beats, all fire, bro. I'm with you there.
The whole Gilligan's Island shit.
With the I was messing with you earlier, but I was like, man, I hated that Trick Daddy song, man. I hated that song.
Yo, I mean,
Trick Daddy album with the food stamp on the cover.
Yeah. Oh yeah, bro.
That was my shit.
I get you, Sean. But you always got to rep where you're from. And when someone comes out and they have a couple hits out there, and you got
Trick has some. He has some good songs, but I could not stand the fact that song got majority play because I hated that whole. I'm not a fan of us trying to adopt that thug name because now you Google the word thug and all you see is black men, and I hate the fact that.
Hey,
what about she ain't no Nan?
Hey, Sean, what about Royce the 5'9", man?
Oh yeah, Royce the 5'9", man.
Yeah, man.
Detroit.
Yeah.
Oh, that leads me to one thing that I want to bring up.
Before you get there, I was going to say, without Trick though, and this guy, I think to me is definitely a little higher on the ladder, so to speak. But you don't get no Rick Ross, man. You know what I'm saying? And Rick Ross in today's game, Hey,
Rick Ross was with.
I'm gonna say y'all can say this. Hey, Rick Ross ain't nothing lyrical. Ain't nothing lyrical at all about it. I'm gonna say this right now. Ain't nothing lyrical at all about it. But when it comes down to getting hype, that Miami style, to what Trick Daddy was, he nails it perfectly, man. And if you come down here at any time in Miami, you best believe you're gonna hear Rick Ross everywhere and people getting hyped. And I know you can point your glasses down, but if you come down to any club in South Beach, you can get a couple of drinks in you, and then you hear that Blowing Money Fast come on. I best believe y'all be hyped.
Oh man, I agree with Jace. He's a Miami legend.
Oh, I'm not saying hip hop legend. He's a Miami legend. And the same thing with Rick Ross, man. Like, we don't have too many guys down here that are in the game like that. So we got to take our merits when we can. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna.
I had to stop the music that I was playing. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Remo. Go ahead, man.
No, I was gonna say. I just said I'm not taking anything away from him, but yeah, he didn't necessarily ingrain himself into hip hop or rap. I mean, he came in, he kind of got his money, and he left. Like, he didn't make any impact like that. You know what I mean? Not like Luke. And if you don't have Luke, you don't have Trick Daddy, because Trick Daddy was with Luke.
And to your point, though, Remo, I think maybe not the impact like on a global or like, let's say, national level, but as a local level.
Oh yeah,
and I can speak to this. Trick does so much for this community down here, and on a local level, to that point right there, he is a legend in Miami, without a doubt.
I can imagine, definitely.
Oh, so Matt was so mad about me saying Rick Ross, he can't even talk. He muted himself.
But Matt brought up Royce the 5'9", and that leads to this guy. Thoughts?
Marshall Mathers.
I have a love and hate relationship with him.
Same.
And it has nothing to do with his color whatsoever. My thing is that he got to a certain level and he kind of
coasted.
Yeah. He was shocked. He was shocked there. You know what I mean? Like his first album was amazing.
Second one too.
Yeah, Marshall Man. I like his second one more than his first.
Yeah.
But the first two, you can't argue them.
Yeah.
You can't argue either.
After that, he started, doing the same shit, and it was just like, come on, dude. And then when he started talking shit about people, it was just kind of like, bro.
And I agree with what Jace just said too.
I mean, he's always talked shit about people, but I guess when he was shit talking about, people that were more personal to him, where it was more like him venting or, getting those frustrations out, where instead of directing towards other people in the industry.
Yeah, like venting for a reaction.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah,
okay, we're good. All right. No, I was gonna say, man, no doubt, Trick Daddy on a Miami level, Poison Clan, those guys all made a footprint there in their area.
Gucci Crew.
Yeah, they all made that. But when we talk about guys like Rick Ross, we have to ask yourself, 30 years from now, when we be talking about the greatest album, all-time greats, that is Rick Ross. No, we won't. We'll be talking about.
All right, look, and I'm not trying to look, and I'm gonna play devil's advocate here. You're absolutely right. But if you go look at when Port of Miami came out in 2003 or 2004, we're 16 years later, and Rick Ross is still getting paid to do verses on people's stuff, and then he's getting asked to do verses tracks, and he's got bangers way bigger than from when the Port of Miami came out. And I'm not, saying to your point, but maybe in the bigger scheme of things, he might get a little more appreciation at the end of the day of his hustle and how much he put out there. But we're talking about 16 years later after the Port of Miami, and if you go listen to that album is garbage. It does not hold up to time. And I'm someone from Miami and love that album when it came out. Every day I'm hustling, quote unquote. But he still has made himself relevant to be 16 years later. And not to say anything, but where's Weezy been the last few years?
He's been there for 16 years as a Miami artist. I remember him back on Suave House probably in 98, 97.
When he was Willow.
Yeah. No, he was Teflon.
Then he was Willow.
I mean, you're talking about a different time, though. I mean, we can go ahead and talk about Titty Boy instead of being 2 Chainz at that point, if you want to bring up that.
But he still sound the same.
Okay, I mean, for sure. 2 Chainz ain't changed his style from Titty Boy to 2 Chainz. He just rebranded himself.
Rick Ross early sounded like Biggie.
Oh, well, that I can't speak of.
What about Shine?
Yeah.
That's shoot the club up.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I just think that the fact that Rick Ross has been able to be somewhat still in the game at this point, it's just a testament to okay, they ain't the greatest down here in Miami, but his career has way surpassed, we'll say, what Uncle Luke has done and what Trick Daddy has done.
But you know what, though? Let me say this.
I'm not talking about a staple for what it was for hip hop itself, Big Reemo. I'm talking about if you look at the amount of money that Rick Ross has branded himself as a business compared to those 2 other guys, I guarantee you that Rick Ross has a higher value in what he's made in music industry compared to them.
And he probably does. And I ain't mean to cut you off now, but let me just throw my 2 cents in. That may be the case, and I'll give you that. But the thing that differentiates Rick Ross between Trick Daddy and Uncle Luke is that they stay true to themselves. Rick Ross is a fraud.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to see
Rick Ross is a fraud, and in my eyes, if he came up in that time when he was Teflon and then Willow with this whole I'm a boss, I'm a G, and I'm pulling in, and he got Noriega owe him favors and all that kind of stuff. That's the reason why he's where he is right now, is because he had to change himself. He had to go from Rocky Maivia to The Rock. Basically, that's what he did.
Okay,
and because of that, That's
Okay,
why he made,
yeah, but to what you're saying though, what was going to sell more, Rocky Maivia or The Rock? And if you're looking at it as a business standpoint, and you're going to rebrand yourself and be like, hey, at the end of the day, like you're absolutely right. I'm not going to argue that. But when we're talking about feeding mouths, putting food and money on the table for people, as a business standpoint, why wouldn't you do that?
And that's cool. But what I'm saying is that to compare his accomplishments and accolades to two people that have been themselves the whole time.
Okay, but as I mentioned before, Big Al, I'm not talking about what they did for hip hop itself. As I mentioned, as two separate things, I said as far as making money and branding themselves as a business, he has been more successful than those two. I'm not talking about what those two did for hip hop as far as, where hip hop is today, and of course being true to themselves. I'm just talking about as pure business standpoint.
And I agree. I understand. I agree with that. But at the same time, he had to sell himself out to do that. They didn't have to do that.
Let me stop you there.
That man ain't never sold no drugs, man. That man was a corrections officer.
The basis of this show.
Sean, put that back up there. Jace, put that back up on the screen. Put that back up on the screen. Hold that right there. Hey, go ahead, Sean. I want to talk about that when
the basis of this show is talking about the hip hop and your impact on hip hop and hip hop alone. I don't give a damn about Rick Ross's businesses, acumen, and stuff, the money he made, and stuff like that. I care about the quality of music and what your impact to hip hop is.
What you bring to the table.
Rick Ross, to me, is a below average rapper who got popular and used that to his advantage to continue putting out average music that people enjoyed, and I'm not going to fault them for it.
And I'm not going to argue that at all.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like,
and I said the first thing I said about Rick Ross, ain't nothing lyrical about him. He gets me hyped. Like I said, he comes up in the club, gets everyone going, and that's what I like about him. I agree with you completely. He's subpar as far as a rapper and hip hop artist, but
he's lyrical, but he's not. Even the impact that he's brought to the game isn't on the level, like you said. Trick Daddy he kicked the door open. He re-kicked the door open for Miami,
and that's
you can't even take away what the Godfather Luke did.
No. And like I said, to me, two separate things that I was talking about there. I was just talking about as far as business. Like you can't. He's been successful, and probably more successful than those two as far as the music industry and business goes for. And that's all the point I was making.
All right, so I'm gonna put on my comment hall and roundtable discussion voice as I read this. It says, not a Ross fan, but he completely utterly shits all over these new age rappers like Uzi Vert, Young Thug, and too many whack rappers to name. My friend, that's not a hard thing to do.
Yes,
because that is the trash. It's just like, man, it's like, hey man, hey man, it's just like you're a sucker, man. You know that's like rolling out Neymar, throwing him over there at Newcastle. Hey man, Neymar is rolling it. We already know Newcastle is shit. We know this.
He ain't saving that one person. Ain't saving nobody. You're absolutely right.
Hip hop has been trash for the last 20 years. I'm 39. For the last 20 years, I think everybody on this panel is in that age bracket. We grew up through all this stuff. It's absolute. It's, you know what? Let me rephrase that. It's not trash. It's just simple entertainment. It's just like WWF. Yeah. It's just like WWF. It is not what we saw in the 90s. It's just now pay your tickets, go enjoy yourself, and that's what it is. Cats like Cardi B would have not survived back in 1988 against MC Lyte. As I said earlier, Sabi, Queen Latifah, you got Money Love, Muhammadiyah, through the hard way. As my boy Sean put up.
What's the name? The one that did Daddy's Little Girls. I can't remember her name.
Shorty No Mask. I don't know if y'all know like Shorty No Mask. Shorty No Mask. When they stood a chance against her, folks like that. These people are now nothing more than entertainers. They're nothing more than cash cows for
you know what the funny part is? Remember back in the 90s when people was giving MC Hammer shit for being the entertainer and stuff? MC Hammer's just a showman. MC Hammer is a really good MC if you really listen to his stuff.
And not just a good MC, he's a good showman. He put on a hell of a show back then.
But people
they
always look at the showman part, but they don't actually listen to the albums and say, all right, he got some bangers on this album. It's not just a hit. He has some.
But you know what? This goes to Al's point. A lot of these artists nowadays, they have to switch a persona to do. It's just like now. You see the problem with T.I. T.I. wants to live one way now, but you grew up for the entire time you talked about banging in the streets. But now all of a sudden, you know, whereas hey, my boy Method Man on the 36 Chamber album, they asked him, they say, hey man, you gonna change when he said, you goddamn right, I'm gonna change if I get some motherfucking money, at least up front, you know, but he's still pretty much, you know, you guys still pretty much remain the same. But these guys nowadays, like I said before, they're nothing more than hardcore entertainers that and they just, you know, they put out with trash, and if it sells, it's good. You know, it is what it is.
And remember, Matt, back in those days when you came with garbage, they gave you shit for it. Yeah, like you put out a whack album, man, you ain't selling. Hey. Rappers are saying you garbage. Nowadays, people embrace garbage.
Yeah, embrace. But you know what? Even this, and Larry gonna love this. Even when 50 Cent came out in the 2000s, 50 of them guys put mixtapes on the map. Them dudes were putting out them mixtapes. They would put nose to the grind, and he remained the same person. These dudes nowadays, man, you look at these Migos.
Yeah, I remember when Migos were first coming up too. I remember when they were first coming up. I was like, "Yo, what is this?"
Put that back up there again. Put that back up there again. I want to go. The Uzi Vert. What the fuck is the Uzi Vert?
Now, I will say this: out of like the group of rappers that are out now with this younger generation, one that I personally like, and I think he's got an ear for it, is Travis Scott, and that's just me personally.
Hey man,
and
if you come to me and say if you say the ASAP Mob, I'll say okay, all right.
I mess with ASAP, ASAP Rocky, ASAP. Oh, the ASAP Mob for sure, but also too another rapper that a lot of people don't know about, or hip hop artist, ASAP Rock. Not ASAP Rocky, ASAP Rock, who can drop lines all day.
Where these guys based at though? See,
he's out here in California.
California. See, these guys.
Is he in Massachusetts?
Yeah, I think it's
these guys. Yeah, these guys still have roots to up north, so of course, you know, they're gonna still take it a little bit more serious. These guys down here, man, you know, you know, we down here in the South, we know we live this every day. We hear this every day. We go to the grocery store, we hear this shit. We hear this, you know, this trash, you know.
This WAP every day?
The WAP. Yeah.
I'm in Publix. Trust me, I hear it.
Yeah, we hear this trash. Oh, yeah, he down here down south too. This is trash. This is not hip hop. This is trash. This is entertainment. This is for hoopla. But like I told y'all earlier in the show, just you have to be patient and ride the wave, because it's gonna circle right back around. I'm telling you, I've heard sounds of guys, and it's starting to come back out. You know, people are like, hey man, what's that? You know, I didn't know what was going on in 93, 94, 95, 96, 97. Oh, I didn't know y'all had this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's deep, man. You know, they starting to hear old music again.
You tell me that the Migos, these motherfucking Migos, okay, will they be as relevant 10, 20, 30 years down the line as opposed to Strictly Business by EPMD, which is still a classic to this day?
From 88.
No.
89.
Hey, man. You know what? Somebody brought up a point I was on a forum the day before yesterday, and this cat was like, they were talking about relevant players. You know, they were talking about the basketball. You know, with Houston, the Clippers losing or whatever, and they were talking about, hey man, they was talking about how Harden is gonna have the same impact on basketball as Derek Coleman had. And I said, you know what? That's how a lot of these rappers are. A lot of these rappers are guys that we know who they are. At 8 years from now, 10 years from now, you won't even remember these dudes, man.
Exactly. Exactly. Dude, I remember all the Gangstar songs. I remember EPMD songs. I listen to this shit today, and I'm like, ain't nothing memorable about none of this. You know what this music is today, Matt? It's trendy music.
It's entertainment.
Come
and
on,
then they move on to the next thing.
You remember all the Gucci Mane songs? Come on, man.
Hey man, Al is the oldest person on this panel, and that's not a slight at you, Al. Al has lived through enough music to tell you he can go all the way back to the 70s and all the way down the line. He'll tell you he remember all the artists that came out. He remember all the albums.
Yo, Matt, I love you. Don't throw Al out there like that, man.
Hey man,
no, Al is.
I'm wise,
Al is, hey man,
very wise.
Al probably the eldest on this panel.
Yeah, all I'm saying, these guys grew up in the 70s and 80s, man. The early 70s, and so they grew through 70s and the 80s. So you can't bullshit these kind of guys when it come down to music, man. These guys have heard R&B at its highest level. Go ahead.
Now I'm gonna add to what you're saying. I know this is about to deviate, but you're telling the truth, because if you look at the trend of music from the 70s in terms of mainstream, in terms of R&B, and then the 80s and 90s in terms of hip hop, it's degraded. Musicianship is no more in terms of like people actually trying to put music out. Now there is nothing wrong with technology. I got a bunch of technology over here to my left. Nothing wrong with that. If you are creative and you have a musical mind, it's a beautiful thing. But then you have programs now that will basically do everything that you want to do for you without a lick of talent, without a lick of an ear, without a lick of know-how. Nowadays, a lot of this stuff that you hear, especially with this rap stuff, most of these cats ain't doing nothing but singing over beats with auto tune on it, and then throwing ad libs in there like, yeah, or skirt. That's all you hear in these songs.
That's all thanks to T-Pain.
But see, the thing of it is with T-Pain knew he knows he screwed up, because T-Pain as an artist, that man actually has talent.
He can sing. He can
play piano. The problem is that he felt like when he brought that whole auto-tune thing in, he knew he had a cash cow, and he knew at that particular point in time, anything he put out, he was gonna make some money. The thing that jacked it up was that other people said, if T-Pain making money off of it, I'm gonna make money off of it too. That's the reason why Jay-Z put out that song Death of the Auto-Tune, because he's like, man, come on now, all y'all rappers can't be doing this auto-tune now. It's got to be some kind of happy balance. Now, hip-hop coming up from the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s, it was diverse. You could go back to hip-hop, and you could go back to the golden age of hip-hop. You had jokers like, y'all probably gonna laugh, you had jokers like Skee-Lo.
Yeah, I remember Skee-Lo.
You had jokers like,
hey, remember the Boogie Monsters?
Exactly. You had them. You had Young MC. You had jokers out there like Tone Loc. But at the same time, you had the Artifacts. You had we just talked about them. 93 to Infinity. Souls of Mischief. You had a Tribe Called Quest. You had Wu-Tang. You had EPMD.
Black Moon.
Man, you had Black Moon. You had Keith Murray. You had Public Enemy. You had X-Clan. And the more I'm starting to spew these names, the more artists that I'm coming up with off the top of my dome that made hip hop the beautiful thing that it is.
Yeah.
But the problem is, corporations have really taken over hip hop now.
Yep.
Well, it's to your point, Al. Not to cut you off, but the gatekeepers are no longer there. The proper gatekeepers.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's a good and a bad thing. But what you were saying also about the technology is, I agree with you. I have all of that technology, but you notice I still said, let me find out you doing it still, and I'm going to send you tracks for you to play instruments and sing over. I didn't say I'm going to sit over here and use my melody maker and all that to do my shit.
Right.
I'm going to get a musician to do the music for me.
Because we came up in an era where that was necessary. Exactly. We didn't have and like Matt said, to his credit earlier in the conversation, and I'm not dogging technology by no means, but technology has given a lot of people a crutch instead of them being a creative soul and being able to sit down and say, let me hum out a beat, let me hum out a melody. They can go to a computer, punch some stuff in, they can mumble 2 or 3 words, and then next thing you know, they churning out melodies and rhythms and all this kind of stuff. It takes the creativity out of the whole process. That's why you hear a lot of this stuff that's out on the radio now. All of it sound the same. All the rappers sound the same.
Hey man, that's right. On this verse right here. It came out in '93 and it's still prevalent today. The Wu is too slamming for these cold killing labels. Some hadn't had hits since they seen Art Mabel. Been doing artists in like Cain and Abel. Now the money's getting stuck to the gum of the table. That's why you get
my boy Jizza.
Yeah.
Your empire falls and you lose every second for trying to scroll.
Hey, first of all, who's your A&R? A Martin Common who plays an electric guitar, but he don't know the meaning of dope when he's looking for a suit and tie rap that's cleaner than the bar soap. That's exactly what Al just got through talking about.
And I'm the dirtiest thing in sight. Matter of fact, bring out the girls. Let's have them up. Like,
but yeah, Jace, that is right there. Jace, the talent and quality in music across all genres is nowhere near the talent. And all the way to the 60s, the talent. You actually had to have talent.
But you guys have to remember now the difference between now and then and today is the avenues that, for instance, like we have to get out there. So as someone that's been in a band and, to your point, with the way technology is and social media and all that type of stuff, it's so much easier to get out there, right? And to become popular, like all you need is a following. That's all these labels now look for. Like before you even get to the label, before it was like, yo, what's music? We will take you and, catapult you. Now it's like, hey, what is it you're already doing? Oh, you have this many followers or subscribers. All right, cool. So now we can work with you because you're already making money, quote unquote. So it's just the way that today is with technology and how easy it is to get yourself out there. I think that has a big part of why you see the industry so flooded, so to speak, with so many people being able to like, you know what? I can just do this in my room, to your point, like, yeah, the way technology is, I can't just go into my room, kind of create a beat or anything like that in my head. But we all know, though, you still need to have some sort of talent or some sort of ear to create something, impactful or beautiful, so to speak, to get people behind it. Now,
but like I said, the gatekeepers are lazy. There's no A&Rs like they used.
But you have to remember now. Okay, now I can speak for this because I studied music business and I'm a music business major and I was in a band that was in the, you can say, music industry, playing shows, getting paid, doing gigs, and all that type of stuff. There is today's day and age when it comes to music is so like they don't know what tomorrow is because of the way it's digital and before. Like there's no like hands-on control on how we receive music anymore. Before, to your point, we had reps that could go find artists and they had control on distributing. Hey, this is when the album's coming out. This is when it's going to be produced with how many will be produced in these, this area and that section, so to speak. Now you can literally, as an artist, you can be a big time artist, literally make something and upload it immediately. So that's the big problem as the music industry, as a business, that they haven't been able to like kind of understand or grasp, if that makes any sense. And because of that, you're flooded with all these artists. Now, what happens now is it becomes more or less, hey, how many followers do you have? What is your audience? And that's what's happening with, I think, with a lot of these hip hop artists today. Like we're seeing people, for instance, like Tekashi 6ix9ine, which is straight garbage, but he was one of the biggest things that come out of New York. And why? Because he had a huge following for whatever reason. Label grabs onto that, even going to jail with all the stupid shit that he did. He still comes out making money, he still gets a label deal and all that type of stuff. Why? Because of his following. So kind of to your point, Al, the way the industry has changed, it's not necessarily about the talent. It's become more about who your following is. And I think,
and I think that leads to them just the people who run this, they just accept mediocrity because of their following. These guys are mediocrity. The fans follow them because nowadays people are conditioned to accept mediocre hip hop because that's what floods the market. All this mediocre stuff, and people love it. But it's like back then we had quality. And the radio, while it played the top hits, it still gave us a little taste of the underground that say, okay, there's a balance there. There is completely no balance.
Nope.
Yeah. Nowhere. And that's what pisses me off, is that I put the radio on, I hear trash, and then I put the radio on like maybe 4 hours later, still trash, and then I try and give the DJ some shot at maybe the 11 o'clock hour, and he's still playing trash. I'm like, where is the balance that we used to have on the radio stations back then. There is none, and that's the same.
And there used to be a. Go ahead, Remo.
Well, I was gonna say
it's what's available to them to play.
Well, yeah, and because that's the major labels pushing. Hey, this is what we're giving you guys to play on these radio stations, and that's what people don't understand. Like these major radio stations that are controlled, they're being run by these major labels that are literally telling them, "Hey, these are the songs that you can play." It's not like they have a choice on like being able to play these songs. And was it Slim and what's that big hip hop show in New York? Like Slim and what's his name? No, like they do like a lot of underground stuff. I can't think of it, bro.
Stretch and Bobbito?
Yeah. Things Stretch and Bobbito.
Stretch and Bobbito. Sorry, it's Stretch, not Slim. But like there's not many radio stations like that are really trying to like push that forefront of upcoming artists in a good way.
There's not there's believe me, there's music out there. There's good music out there. You have to find it.
And that I would say that is the beauty of social media, because while it does give us a lot of garbage, we still got underground MCs putting out quality stuff, and they have an avenue to put it out. Whereas in the 90s, a lot of those underground artists didn't really have the avenue to put them out. So in this day and age, I can get my Cormega fix. We didn't talk about Cormega. I can get my Cormega fix through the internet because he's putting out his stuff. I can get my REKS. I can get Sky Zoo, all those guys. You know, any upcoming independent artists, I can get through social media if they putting out quality music too.
There's a local artist down here. His name is Anonymous Killer, and to your point, Puff, because of these avenues, he's been able to like go out there and create a name and business for himself. I mean, he's not on like some, like I guess you can say global level, but he's on a national level in a certain market where he's made a name for himself, being able to create a following and create a business making music. And he's got fans that pay for his, his albums, and he's on Spotify and stuff like that. And to your point, incredible hip hop artist. And I'll send you his link so you can listen to him and hear him and stuff like that. And another hip hop artist down here that I worked with personally, and we actually played Okeechobee Fest, and we opened for the Roots and Snoop Dogg and Travis Scott at the 2017 Okeechobee Fest. You know, it was a few years ago, but his name is Michael Corey. But another hip hop artist down here, like true to hip hop. His background is more influenced by his Jamaican culture, so it's more like a hip hop reggae vibe. But same thing, man. Without these avenues, these guys couldn't get out there, and they're creating names for themselves and a small business. I mean, it's not like, where they're dropping stacks on things, but they've been able to make a business for themselves to make music and make money. And, without the avenues, which we have today, they couldn't do that.
You know of Knowledge Medina?
That sounds so familiar.
He's from Miami. He's from the South Florida, and I've been following him since like the mid 2000s when he did the album with Chaos Theory.
I know Funky Cole Medina.
I know Funky Cole Medina. and Wild Thing.
See, this is what I like, Matt. You send me this Shorty No Mas. When I see that album, that record, then I know it's gonna be good, because especially if it's from the 90s, man.
Yep, that's what I say. You gonna like that, man. You'll like that.
Balloon Mind State album. She's on a couple cracks on there, right? De La second album or third album?
Who Shorty No Mas?
Yeah,
I think she is.
Right?
Yeah, she's on the third album.
She was a Q-Tip's artist, right?
Yep, she never really made it mainstream, but her underground stuff was really good. Like when you get a chance to listen to this, so he got it on now. He gonna start bobbing his head in just a second.
She had a baby, and then that's kind of what took her.
Yeah. You remember Charlie Baltimore when Charlie Baltimore came out, man? You know what? That you just gave me an idea. You just made me think about something. And I talked about this with Sean. Now we talk about artists who suffered from poor production, and the only one artist I can think of that can come to name it just completely just ruined his career.
Hey, I got the book.
Hold it. Yeah.
It's not the damn the artist. It's the man who ruined them.
Yeah, the man who ruined him. And you, this will give you a clue of who we talking about. Look at this shine right here. Hold up. Look at that shine right there.
Cannabis.
Now, Cannabis, man. This dude absolutely ruined his career. Ruined Cannabis's career with bad production, man. I've never seen an artist that never recovered from that, man. Never recovered from that bad production, man.
One song, he battled Cannabis, and Cannabis, if he would have had the awesome production, Cannabis could have handled L. But that production just wasted his album, man.
I mean, you had Mike Tyson. How can you go wrong? You had Mike Tyson. You had everything else you needed, and then what happened, man? You went and got what's that fool's name?
Wyclef.
Wyclef. When he got that, yeah, I would call him Prof Fool. I would call him Prof Fool. I mean, Wyclef. When it got that dope.
Just saying fool. I thought it was Fool Snickens, man.
Yeah, right. Fool Snickens. That's another one. But this guy here
did his album.
This guy here, man. Yeah, see, Jason, right? What a damn shame. Yeah, I mean, you hear him on other folks' stuff that's not produced well, and he just tears it to shreds. But then you hear him on that stuff. You hear carnival music.
Bro, when he was on the first Fantastic Four on DJ Clue's professional album, man, he murdered that shit. And he was with Big Pun on that song. Yeah. And I still thought Cannabis ripped it at the end.
Yeah, and then
the hardest one verses on that song.
And then you get your boy Wyclef on there, man. You start getting all that whoa la la all that silly stuff, man.
Hey, that's like when Cannabis was on the Lost Boys album, and he did that track on there. I can't remember the name of that track.
I know the song.
He destroyed that track, man. I mean, it was like I don't know,
man. Piece of nappiness, huh?
Yeah,
Killed that one.
He had a cut on Common's album, man. On one of Common's album, man, it was a simple beat and just totally ripped it, man. And then you go to hit, and then the second album, oh my God, the second was worse than the first. You're like, oh man, this.
I thought it was slightly better than the first, but not as better as the Rip the Jacker. That was his best album to me.
Yeah, and do you heard him on?
Heard him with ideas, but he didn't bring him that up.
But
yeah, man, that was he was a waste of a talent, man. I mean, just completely
speaking of Rip the Jacker, that was produced by Stoop the Enemy Mankind, who was a producer of Jedi Mind Tricks. Y'all heard of them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Jedi Mind Tricks,
absolutely.
Yo, and then Puff, I don't know if you can allow it because I'm not an admin, but I'm gonna post that link. This is that hip hop artist that I was working with. I was the live band behind him. As I mentioned before, he's from down here, South Florida. His name is Michael Corey. It's got this reggae, hip-hop inspired sound. Definitely some great stuff. Very lyrical. That's what he's all about. He's not kind of like what you would say today's hip-hop artist would be. And I definitely think it would be up all of your guys' alley. So definitely check it out if you could. That's my boy. And I guess you could say I'm his live band whenever he needs another live band. He just hasn't hit me up in a while. So.
Hey, Sean, are you familiar with some of the groups that come out of Canada, man?
Damn, what was the dude's name?
It's a group, Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane was a group. I don't know if y'all heard of Remo. You heard of Citizen Kane?
Yep.
Yeah, I was like, man, now you talking about.
I know more about like Cardinal Official and.
Yeah. Cardinal Official. I forgot all about him.
Yeah, that's who I was going to bring up.
Yeah, that's another one.
Socrates, y'all remember Socrates with Father Time?
Yeah.
Yep. I remember that. Yeah.
Which one of them signed with Redman? Was it Socrates or was it?
I think it might have been Socrates. Him or Cardinal Official, one of the two.
One of them signed with Redman.
I think it was Socrates. I don't remember hearing about Cardinal signing with Red.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, Socrates was hard too, man.
Man, I love Socrates. He had a nice little style, man.
Yeah, all right, so I'm gonna throw this out there just for the hell of it, just because we're having a good time chatting tonight, man. I just
and
thoughts on Kanye West, man.
Crash the party, by the way. Just saying.
It's all good, man. What's the thought, Kanye West, man? What's the overall consensus on Kanye West, man?
Personally, I think shit up and just make music. That would.
I think he needs to produce.
But I think with the production for him, like it got to the level where he ended up being like a Quincy Jones, but he's not picking the right people to be around him. You know what I'm saying?
I liked his earlier work, and then second half of his career, I started falling off on him. Like after graduations, I kind of fell off of him.
So I'll put it like this: he is
that's the name I was coming up with, Jace. The Grassroots.
Yeah.
I was thinking, I was like, I know Grassroots, but I didn't know if I was true, but yeah.
Grassroots are hard. No, I was saying he's like, what's the one kid, man, that everybody, he's black, but he looks white?
John B.
No.
Are you talking about 90? No, I'm just
I'm gonna say
talking about me? You talking about me, Reemo? I'm right here, bro. Come on.
He looks like you, though. What's his name?
Come on, man.
What's his name, man? You know what I'm talking about. Logic.
Logic.
I
was actually going to bring up Logic earlier. I was like, what do you guys feel about Logic? And then
Logic,
I know
Logic is what Kanye West should be.
Man, I don't know.
He didn't let No ID control his career, and No ID control Logic's career. And look at what Logic ended up with. You know what I'm saying? And how Logic ended up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, like it's similar, but it's like he lives a normal life. He's a fucking multi-millionaire. You know what I'm saying? He's married with children. Like he's retired now.
Yeah, but I think you're also talking about two different people, bro. Because I think Kanye wanted that spotlight.
Yeah, I think Kanye's ego did want the spotlight. I agree with that.
Kanye wanted the spotlight because if you look at all the decisions he's made and who he's with, and to your point, who he's surrounding himself with.
I felt like after his first album, like spotlight came to him, and he just was seeking everything. He wanted to be in everything.
No, but that's what I'm saying. It was only about the music, then you would get a music person behind you and you would do the music and you'd be happy doing your music. But if you want all the extra shit, then you don't have time to produce. You have to hire people to produce for you and do the things because you don't have the time to do it because you're doing other things. And that's how you lose your sound because you don't have me and Al making beats, you know what I'm saying, when we first got on, you know what I'm saying? In the studio, it's me and Al. I'm bouncing stuff off of Al. I place a track with Jay-Z and we blow up, we keep doing it. And Al's like, man, I'm not really with that shit. So then I'm like, all right, me and 90 are gonna start doing beats. Our beats aren't gonna sound the same as they did when I was with Al.
No, for sure. And I see what you're saying there. But I also think with Kanye too, I mean, I don't know, like the last thing that he put out, I mean, definitely different. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think Kanye sees himself in some sort of different light. And I think that's why he kind of pushes the envelope and you're like, you know what? I'm just going to go out and try something different. And that last thing that he put out, not necessarily the greatest thing, but there are certain things about it that I was like, okay, I can hear some good in it, but it's not necessarily, old school Kanye. And I know Al's ready to go. I don't know if we should let him go.
All I gotta say is this. I'm gonna let y'all continue to converse. I feel like Kanye lost his way when his mom died. When his mom died, he wasn't able to cope.
That's different. Yeah,
his whole attitude, because he was a more humbler individual even after he attained success. But then once his mom died, I feel like and this is just my observation, he had no direction, and he turned to whatever he could turn to in order to try to fill that hole that his mom left in himself. Because Kanye, like Jay said, he was his best during the early to late 2000s, and then all of a sudden when he hooked up with
your point though, Al, I think since his mom died, and maybe that last album that was so like gospel, so to speak, and not to say anything, he had an entire church service down here in Miami, and I had a homie of mine that actually went to it. I was like, yo, you realize that's just going to be like a Kanye concert? And he's like, yeah, that's why I'm trying to go. Like, he had a friend of his dad that like ran the church. He was able to go to it, and he played like that whole gospel album, and he did Jesus Walks and did a whole bunch of like Kanye hits. But I think to your point, like, that gospel side of it was something heavily influenced by his mom. Not that it's anything great, but I think you're absolutely right. Since his mom died, he's got that hole and void, and he's trying to like find that. And I think this last album completely is like screaming that because of how gospel it is. I don't know if you guys have heard it.
I haven't heard it, but I think he's smart. He knows what he's doing. I don't even think that it's even as deep as we make it out to be. I think that honestly, like, he's in a family with a bunch of marketing genius.
I love that. He's like, yo, Kanye, I'm out. You checking books? Sorry. Like, yo, where y'all talking about Kanye? All right, mute. Yo,
nah, but seriously, I think it's kind of like he knows how to keep his name out there. He don't have no music because he ain't working with nobody right now. So,
oh, yo, you know where he's making money right now, right?
Yeah,
being shoes, bro. Them shoes. He's killing the shoe game. I don't think y'all realize. I got a pair of Yeezys up in the freaking closet.
You're a bad man.
My brother bought them for me. My brother bought them for me for my birthday. No, he bought them for me for my first Father's Day, this past Father's Day. So he got me a pair of Yeezys, and he swears by them because he wears them all the time. So, but he's making his money right now from that Yeezy deal, hands down, and that's why he left Nike because they didn't give him that Jordan-like contract, and that's why he went to Adidas.
And he's with Gap too. He's got Gap.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's making. Yeah, he ain't worried about music right now. And then he's got that Kardashian money, bro. Let's just be real.
Now he's a billionaire.
I mean, the dude is talented. He's too arrogant for me.
I'm with you there. He's that talented. He's super.
He is talented in space. I mean, his production is very, very, very good. I mean, I don't put him above a cat like Pete Rock, but he has some good production. But
no, but look at Quincy Jones. Like, Quincy Jones is a genius until
but you're talking like a.
No, I'm just saying.
I know, but Quincy Jones, when you're saying that, bro, to me is like a Mozart or Beethoven. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're talking about like a generational type of person, and Kanye fell off. Like, he needs that.
So did Quincy Jones. That's why he made Back on the Block.
Well, Back on the Block was like his return to form. And he knew that Michael was going to leave sooner or later, Michael Jackson, because Michael wanted to do with Teddy Riley.
Exactly. And he knew he had to reinvent himself. So that was but when he talks too much and he talks out loud and people are like, whoa, and then he makes controversy. Even he does that. So I'm just saying they kind of know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's just what are you willing to put up with and how are you willing to put up with.
I can see that.
All right, Al, I got to mention this before we continue. And I know I'm probably the youngest person on this panel by far, but I've been to a lot of shows. As I mentioned before, I'm a musician. I was been in bands, played a whole bunch of gigs, got hired, played, festivals and stuff like that. But I will say to this day, the greatest show that I ever went to was down at the Hard Rock down here in Hollywood, Florida. And the opening act was Shaka Khan, followed by Al Green, and then the closing act was BB King. By far, when it comes to like music history and like things like that, and I know this is a hip hop show, but without that, we ain't anywhere where we are today. And that by far was one of the greatest, it is the greatest show that I've ever been to, just based off of that right there.
See how Matt's putting that away?
Oh, yeah, Matt.
Remember, you ain't
he got that for $15.
You ain't shit.
Hey, man, you know what? You over there doing what you doing, man. I'm trying to hold off showing this book to tomorrow, but you're gonna make me show this book tonight, man. If it's okay with
hey.
It's all right with me, man. If you want,
I'm gonna show it again tomorrow.
This is a comic book channel. Hell yeah, let's do it.
It's a comic book. Thanks to Matthew Odom. He actually got me another book that I wanted to get, but I really appreciate him for getting this book.
Let's blow it up for him. There you go.
Thank you so much.
I love you, brother.
I love you too, brother. No homo. But
bro, that's unsaid, bro. That's unsaid. Oh man, I am jealous, bro. That is a beautiful book.
Damn, man, that Michael Turner.
Hey, Reemo gonna put me on retainer, man.
I got to, man. I got to.
Man, if this storm could come to life, I would try to marry her. I ain't gonna even lie.
Damn.
Yeah, man. It's in excellent condition too, man.
I'm telling you, man, I would never see those books because the shops out here, the shop owners take those books immediately. They don't let them sit. They make their staff go through the long boxes weekly.
That's crazy, man. Well, I'm gonna tell you now, Matt and Larry, they find like all kinds of stuff, man. Like I've been with them.
Yeah, that whole video they did from Dave's.
I seen Larry had like 4 Ultimate Fallouts. I was like,
yo, he's holding a Hell Arisen right now. No,
I got this. This was in the Walmart pack, man. Believe it or not. Yeah, man. They got it. They're in the Walmart packs, man. If y'all go to Walmart, if y'all see the Wonder Woman, the pack with Wonder Woman 755 in it, you're gonna either get this one or you're gonna get the first appearance of Punchline.
Man, I'm gonna have to look at that the next time I'm there for sure. Good looks on that, Matt.
Yeah, but
that's my man. That's that Gooner family right there, yo. Hooking it up, baby. That's what. Let's go.
And then he got the Black Panther, #1 for $15.
Yeah.
The 2. That was Black Panther 2, right?
Hey, blow it up.
Oh my gosh, bro! I was at a con about 2.5 years ago, and it was that book, and then the first cover that was like one before it that wasn't out yet, the J. Scott Campbell.
Yeah.
And I was able to like talk the guy into it for like $45, but I had like spent all my money right at the con. At the time, she, my fiance, now my wife, she liked me like, no, ain't happening. I was like, damn, like, all right. Now that book is just blowing up, and I'm looking, I'm like, man, that was my chance, but it was so long ago,
Yeah, there's a lot of books like that, man. You had a chance to
I also think, Brad, that's one of those books though as well, based off the time period. I'm not even upset about it because it's going to come back down. I think whatever one thinks about her becoming ain't going to happen. I think they're going to recast it and do all that type of stuff because it's too soon. It's too soon to, for instance, hand that mantle on to her.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't give that character enough shine, so to speak. And I know it may be too soon to cast someone right now for it. And I'm not saying they're going to do that right now, but I think over time, that's what they're going to do. They're going to recast the role, redo what their original plan was, and go forward. Now, I think the thing that hurts them the most is that they already casted Michael B. Jordan because I think he would have been perfect.
They should just make him be Killmonger and just have the symbiote.
I mean, if they want to go that deep, but then Reemo, you're talking about a whole deep, complex scenario that, for instance, all of us on this panel can understand it because we're comic book readers. But the fan that they're trying to like retain as moviegoers, that's going to be too much story. Yeah. So they, I think they'll recast him. I mean, who knows? Maybe they do something, where they recast it as Michael B. Jordan. That would be cool. But if not, there's other good candidates out there. I'm sure that there's probably another young and up and coming, black actor, so to speak. Because I don't want to necessarily like pin it to African American, because it could be any, black actor that can fill that role that we don't know about yet. And like, let's give him that shot.
You can get old boy from Tenet. You can get Denzel Washington.
Oh,
yeah, John Denzel Washington. Yeah, he'd be perfect for
it. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. So like, you just, I think they just, as they're saying, like right now, they're not going to do anything to kind of give time pass because that's the complete respect that they should do for, Mr. Bozeman and, his family. But I think they're going to recast him. It's not going to be Shuri yet. Down the line, yes, but I don't think it's going to be yet. That book will come back down.
Sean,
so I'll be able to get it.
I got a question, Sean.
Yeah, because I'm gonna get ready to wrap this up soon. So
yeah, for sure.
Ahead.
Go
ahead, Sean.
Can y'all is this the second variant of Mask of the Phantasm? I saw this in the store today, and I was like, I've never seen that one. I got the old one.
Never seen that one myself.
Yeah,
that's the movie, the adaptation.
Yeah. It's so cold watching this, man. I don't know which one this is. I just happened to pick it up.
Hey, we only got one person watching now because everybody watching The Hunt.
It's probably me watching us, but it doesn't matter, It doesn't matter.
It's my brother. I know he's still watching.
No,
I think that might. Yeah, I think that is. That's a variant of it for sure.
Wow.
I see it on eBay. I mean, there's like a super beat up version for like $10, but let me see if there's something else here. But yeah, it's a version of it from 1994.
Oh wow! All right, cool.
Yep. And where'd you find that, man?
I found that it's a store. I'll say the store. I found that prime time, Al. I guess he just put this in there because I saw it today for the first time.
Awesome, man. Hey, that's a great cover too, man. Great, you got
sick cover, bro.
Appreciate it, man.
But anyway,
go ahead.
I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We've been talking hip hop for 3.5 hours, man. Woo, man, there's so much more we could have touched on too, man. 90, thanks for coming up on here.
Thank you guys for letting me hop in crazy late and last minute. I appreciate it. Hopefully next time I can join you guys from the beginning and get all the information. But I appreciate you guys for letting me join you guys, man. Super fun.
Yeah, Big Reemo, you was the one that started this, man. You asked me what show can we do to talk hip hop, and I was like, say no more, man. The show was formed.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We can do this whenever, man. I'm down. We can do it randomly whenever, man, and just talk about it.
Yeah, man. The Al and Matt. I know me and Matt talked about hip hop for like over an hour on the off-air show. So
yeah, easily. I'm just honored to be part of the first show, Puff. So thank you, Sean, for letting me be here, man.
No problem, man. No problem. I know tomorrow I got my chat with the Comic Community Show. And then, of course, I'm going to be on with Al and Matt on the Comic Con Roundtable discussion, 8:30 tomorrow night. So, enjoy.
Is it just you three tomorrow, or are you guys going to have the rest of the clique too?
We got the crew will be there.
Okay.
Yeah, Xavier and Chris. But, yeah, thanks, everybody, for joining. And the one person that stuck around till the very end.
We appreciate you.
Peace out. Have a great weekend. Be safe, y'all.
All right,
and listen to classic 90s hip hop, bro.
Yeah.